if you're already a teenage mom, I like to be that model, that role model of what, the role model of you can make it, you can succeed. That's why I like to tell the story about the homecoming thing, because I'm sure there's many other girls that would have never put their son on that car with them riding because of the mocking and that stigmatism that they would get from doing that. And I really don't give a shit what people think about me. I never did.
Yeah.
And so that's why I did what I did. It was making a statement. It was a bold statement, and in my, the way that I thought about it, it actually worked in my favor because people was like, damn, that's the shit.
Yeah.
She doesn't give a shit. That's real life. And that's what I like people to think about me, like, that's real life. That's reality. But for the girls that are not pregnant or they're not a teenage mom, I also like to be a role model for them, to show them how much harder it is when you have a kid, to get educated. It's not this fluffy life, like I said, you see on social media, you see a teen mom and they're like, oh, wow, look, they're posting and their kids at the beach and it's so cute. And all their friends are having kids young. And it's like, I need to be a part of this clique. I need to be the play date. I need to make sure that when I do this, I'm going to get this right. And it's all for show. That's really not what it is. There's a lot of time and effort that either is going to make or break you, and not everyone fails, but a lot of the times, a lot of people don't know how to, or a lot of women especially don't know how to be a parent, right? Because you're not taught all those things, like you go to class and you sit there and you're like, okay, this happens, you have it, okay, this happens, boom, you're pregnant. But you're not living the reality of it. Even having a fake egg or a rice bag and carrying it around, because that was a project when I was in high school. They did like a rice bag and that was your baby. You couldn't let it break and you had to feed. That's not real. Real is a baby waking your ass up. Real is a baby waking you up all through the night. Real is you having to work to pay for to get you through. And that's another thing, is our systems allow for it, right? Like EBT, welfare, and all of that. And I don't knock anybody for being on it, because that was me. But why do you want to live like that? Why do you want to depend on the system? It makes it so easy for you to just rely on that and not really do anything for yourself. That's what I like to tell people that are, like practicing unprotected sex at a young age. Like, yeah, sure, you're never gonna be homeless. You're never gonna, because there's a system to protect you. But why do you want that for your life and for your kid? Eventually you want to get out of that, and you want to be something for yourself.
All right, we are live. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Kava Club podcast, where we share healthy conversations, experiences, apply knowledge and stories to promote happiness, love, success, and improve your quality of life. You guys already know who I am. My name is Will. I'm the host of this show. If you guys are watching this for the very first time, if you guys are tuning in, please like and subscribe. Show some love, show some support. Like and subscribe to my channel. Everybody that's been watching, everybody that's been subscribing, sending me so much positive feedback. Thank you so much for all the love offered to all you guys. Keeps the fire going, keeps the inspiration going. But I have a very special guest, y'all. I have a very special guest today. I'm excited. I saw her through social media. I saw her positive vibes. I saw that real energy. I was like, I gotta hit her up and let me get her on the show. I'm just gonna tell her directly, thank you so much. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here, be on my show, talk about your life story for all my audience and all my listeners. But I'll let her introduce herself real quick. So it's all you.
Hey, my name is Van Mitchell. I'm from Honolulu, Hawaii, and I'm grateful to be a part of this project. Will hit me up in my DMs, and I get a lot of those. People asking me to do things, people asking me to be ambassador. I'm sure a lot of people go through this, but when I read what his project was about and what this whole thing was about, I was very interested in it. I went to his YouTube and I watched some of the other women that were speaking on different topics, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it. And I'm glad that he found me and asked me.
Thank you. And I just want to make sure that everybody that's listening, she is also part of the Urban Solution Radio podcast. Can you back that ass? No, can you back that? Can you back that up?
Can you back that ass up?
Can you back that up? So definitely please go and check that out. What time does it start? Every Monday for everybody that's watching?
We do it every Monday, 7 Pacific Standard Time.
Okay.
Hawaii time is 4 p.m. It's because it's daylight savings. You know me, I don't know anything about daylight savings. Yeah. So when they're like, oh, the time to change your clock, I was like, guys, I don't have a clock to change. So it usually starts at 5, but right now we're in daylight. So Hawaii time would be 4 and Pacific Standard Time is 7.
Yeah, so after you watch this podcast and you want more of her, you definitely go tune into that show if you can't get enough.
Yeah, it's very raw, unfiltered. Me and a bunch of others on a panel that just have a good time with, you know, like different topics and different questions to think about in life. For sure.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much. And I'm excited to have you on the podcast. And I guess we'll get started. I know a lot of my listeners don't know who we are. So can you give it like a quick synopsis of your life story, your background, and how did you grow up?
So I grew up out here in Hawaii, just like any other local girl. I've not left. I love my home. I mean, I've thought about it many a times. I do love to travel. So I've traveled. My daughter was working for an airlines out here, Ohana Airlines, and I was afforded the opportunity to have travel benefits. So I've traveled all through the States. I just love to travel. I've been to LA, you know, several times the last couple of years, but you know, with the pandemic, I haven't been able to do that. But basically, I love my home. I love Hawaii. I don't know if I'll ever leave because I love the people. I love the vibe, and I don't get that when I do my travels. But living out here, you know, it's over the years, it's gotten really expensive. Very costly to live here. You pay for the cost of paradise for sure. And it's just a different laid back lifestyle, you know. And like any other place, you fall into the lifestyles, you fall into your area. And so for me, I grew up with a brother and a sister. My parents were married throughout my whole childhood. Sadly, they got a divorce, you know, years later, but I was able to have both of my parents for my entire childhood, which is not rare these days. I mean, which is rare these days. And, you know, I didn't have to go through divorce or any of those other things that a lot of Hawaii people go through. And I mean, maybe not just Hawaii, but anywhere.
Yeah.
I have one sister and one brother. My sister, as a child, was very much into pageants and modeling and stuff like that. And I never really was. I was more of the rebel, nerdy girl. I've always been a bookworm. I've always been into my studies. And like I said, I was a rebel. So at a very, very young age, I had a boyfriend. And you know, talking about falling into the area, I got pregnant at 16 years old.
Okay.
And at the time, there was a bunch of us pregnant in high school, but it wasn't as much as it is today. I feel like it's a really big thing today. I haven't really looked at the numbers. I do look at them. I did used to look at them because I felt like it was an important topic for me to help young moms to be successful, or to just tell my story about being a young mom and through teenage pregnancy. So I got pregnant when I was 16. I was looked upon, you know, like, you're never going to amount to anything in life from people. You know, a lot of people judge me. Walking around the halls, of course, that created thick skin for me, because at the time, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of teenage pregnancy at the time, as there is now. Now it's a little bit more accepting, as it was back in 19 Forgotten when I was in high school. But it was very stigmatized as you were like bad, even though everybody else was doing it. Everybody else was having sex in cars and whatnot. You just happened to, you know, make a mistake, or you just happened to not use protection to get into the situation that you got in. And so I walked around with my head up. I didn't care what people thought about me. It was my responsibility. It was my own fault, for getting myself into that situation. So I never let people look down on me, even though they did. I never let people talk down to me, even though they did. I had family members saying, you're never going to amount to nothing now. You're so smart. I was on a roll. And that's another thing, right? People think you're just a nerd in school. Like you're never going to be, you're never going to get into trouble. But I was a nerd, bad rebel girl. So I was on honor roll. I was, always going on excursions. I was getting all the extras because I was such a nerdy type person. I went to private school for intermediate. So while I was in intermediate, I learned a lot of my study skills and I gained a lot of more interest in school while I was in intermediate. And so by the time I went to high school, I went to a public school, more rebel, more into trouble, and which got me pregnant. And so at that point, it was my boyfriend from intermediate. We were together. I got pregnant. I took the punches. I rode with the punches, and I did what I needed to do. When I got to be a senior in high school, I always like to tell this story only because it's very interesting. I was nominated as homecoming queen.
Okay.
From my class. And we do the parades, you do the homecoming parade, we do the Christmas parade. In the Christmas parade, in Kaneohe, in my hometown, it's a big deal. A lot of people come out to Kaneohe from all over the island for the Christmas parade. So I was in the Christmas parade as homecoming queen, and I had my son on my lap. He was 2 years old. He was almost 2 years old, and he waved, and he was a part of it. And to me, that was a big deal. I went through my hometown letting people know that you can be a queen and make mistakes.
Yeah.
And I didn't care what the town thought of me. I didn't care if they're like, oh my God, look at that. Because you know what? I took responsibility and I owned up to what I did. And that really gave me a drive to do more and to be successful in life, just having a kid at a young age. And so when the college recruits came out to my school from Kamehameha School, they have all these different scholarships. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with Kamehameha schools, but out in Hawaii, we have a school that's for Hawaiians. It's mainly for Hawaiians. And if you don't get into the school, you can get scholarships to get into other schools. And the trust fund of the Queen, Lani, pays for these things. Bernice Wahi Bishop is which is what I should give the credit to, because that's where the trust fund money is coming from. And the recruits came to my school, and I was like, okay, am I going to go to college? Because it was a college recruit, right? So it's like, my parents are like, how are you going to do that? Like, you have a kid. Watch me. I went to the seminars, I listened to what I needed to, and I signed myself up. I'm going to show every motherfucker out there that I'm going to do this, And I signed up, and I went to college with my son, with the help of my parents and whatnot. I had a job since I was 16 years old. In fact, I've had 2 jobs since I was 16 years old. And up until recently, last year, I just realized that my entire life, I've had 2 jobs up until last year to the pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm currently working 1 job. And it's not because I'm money hungry. It's not because of anything else. It's because I have a family to support. And I've always had a family to support, obviously, since I was 16 years old. I used the system at one point. I'm not going to lie. I'm a product of welfare. I'm a product of, child care and getting all those funds that I was entitled to as a young mother. But what I did with those funds is I turned it around so that I could later on be successful and tell the story.
Yeah.
And so I went to Windward for 2 years, Windward Community College. I went to community college for 2 years. And then I got pregnant at 19, same dad, and had my daughter.
Yeah.
So that was my second kid. Now I'm in college with 2 kids. But I'm not stopping. I'm keep going. I kept going to school. I kept working the 2 jobs. And paying no mind to what was going on. I still live my life though. I still got my partying in. I still got my young adult partying in. Thanks to my dad and my mom, for helping me raise my kids. And when I was going through all of this, I mean, I was with the father still. And then at one point, he left me. He cheated, and I was on my own. And from that day forward is when I stopped depending on a man. Honestly, I was living in an apartment with him. He promised to pay my rent. He did for 1 month, and then after that, I was shit out of luck.
Yeah.
And so I needed to do what I needed to do. I was working at JCPenney's. We don't even have one here in Hawaii anymore. But
Yeah.
I was working at JCPenney's, and I was working in a little sushi stand, and I was going to college. And I realized that I needed to take a break from college. Because I needed to focus on making money to feed my family, to feed my kids. I wasn't going to have somebody to help me in the financial part. My parents didn't have the money to help me. You know, we're all just like in Hawaii, like I said, we all just get by, right? It's so expensive, and we don't, you know, we shoot for big things, but sometimes we don't get there. And my parents were like that. You know, we kind of was a paycheck to paycheck kind of family. So I had to do what I needed to do. These are my kids. I needed to pay for them. And so I took a break from college. And then I did what I did. Someone asked me if I wanted to work in a bar. They were hiring as a waitress.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Now you can make money. You know, you're cute. You can go out there. You can hold a tray. You can." And that began the beginning of my bar life. I worked in a bar for 20 years of my life, and that supported me and my family. And, you know, people are going to judge about that, and they don't care.
Yeah.
I did what I needed to do. I was a waitress, and then I became a bartender. And school was on hold for a couple of years because, you know, I needed to do what I needed to do. I needed to get the party out. I needed to get the hurt out of being cheated on. You know, it's cheating is a really big thing for me now. I don't tolerate it. It's just, you make yourself less worthy when you tolerate yourself to get cheated on. And it's always been a big thing on my heart after that. You know, this is the love of my life. I'm going to marry this guy. I lost my adolescence to him, really, to my kids. But I never blame my kids for that. You know, the grateful thing is that I had kids out of it. And, you know, maybe that's what needed to happen. So I wouldn't become more of a rebel in life. But I did. And then, you know, I met my next baby daddy, if we want to call it that. And I got pregnant again. I was 23 years old, having another kid. So by the time I was 24, I had 3 kids. Yeah. And I said to myself, what are you going to do? You're going to work in the bar for the rest of your life? You know, I was working at a bar. I had left JCPenney's. You know, we had a separate life. I found love again, right? Because that love and all of that was gone. I found love again. I found life. So I thought, you know, and I did what I needed to do, working at the bar, getting by. But I thought to myself, now you have 3 kids. What are you going to do? You're going to stay with this guy? You're going to depend on him for the rest of your life? You know, he was a hard worker. He worked really hard to provide for us. You know, I fell back into the system. I needed to survive. I needed for food for my kids, you know, because working at the bar wasn't, you know, it was getting us by, but it wasn't like, you know, paying all the bills. Yeah. I had family who helped me live in certain places, you know. I lived with cousins, you know, for cheap. I lived in my uncle's apartment, which I'm forever grateful for because, you know, back then the rent was like $700. Yeah. Now you try to live in an apartment like that, it's like $2,300. You know, and he could have rated on it. He never did. You know, through life, and I said, you got to get educated. So I went with my family, washing my clothes for me. My auntie was watching my daughter. You know, those are the things that I don't forget. You know, I had to get sitters, and I'm talking like I'm taking my kids to school. I'm working for my uncle at, you know, with his contracting business. I'm still trying to exercise and get my health in. I'm at the bar at nights. And it's all these things going on. But I said, no, I got to go to school. Like, I have to go to school. I went back to school. I went to HPU. I went to White Pacific University, fully funded by Kamehameha Schools. I got my BA 2 years later because I just needed that 2 years, you know, from that break that I had from Windward. I got my 2 years. And it was different. It was hard. I was going back to school at 23 with 18-year-olds. I'm in a shuttle going to town. They're talking about how much they drank the night before and how much party they did. And I'm thinking, did I press the crock pot on? Did I, did I drop off the kids' homework? Did I review what they did? I'm 23 and my son is 7, my daughter's 4, and my baby is 1. And here I am on a shuttle to Hawaii Pacific University to get educated, to provide for them, So I did that. I got my BA. When I got my BA, my daughter was 3. I'll never forget that. I had all these lays and she was crying. She thought I was choking. Mommy's choking, and the other kids are like, what, I was still working at the bar, still doing what I needed to do, still 2 jobs, still going to college, whatever. Then I tried to enter the workforce, right? Because now I need to make money. Now I need to make real money. I need to have one job and make money. Nobody wanted to give me that opportunity because I didn't have experience. Well, how can I have experience when I'm making fast money in the bar? You know, it's always that thing where it's like you're either going to make fast money and make it, or you're going to go the route, start at the bottom to make your way to make the money, but you're going to be eating shit. And what are your kids going to eat? Nobody wanted to give me that opportunity. So I did odds and ends jobs and said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going back to school. So I got more scholarships and I went to Chaminade down here in Honolulu. And 2 years later, I got my master's degree. And that's a lot of things that people don't know. They don't know about my education, right? Because I don't post about all this stuff. I don't really share all this stuff, but that's the struggles that I went through, 2 years later, I got my master's, went out to the workforce. Still nobody wanting to give me a job, right? Because there's no experience yet. You're still getting all this. You have all this education, but what were you doing working at the bar then? My resume says graduate. I had cords. I walked with cords on my Chaminade graduation. I was 4.0. Like I was it, but that doesn't make you an ideal candidate for a job when your resume says Little
bartender.
Tokyo Sushi, Top of the Hill bartender for 6 years, JC Penney's. That doesn't give you an up on anybody else that's applying for that assistant legal position. So I was able to make connections with people like I always do, and an attorney finally gave me the opportunity to answer phone calls, to file, because you have to start at the bottom in anything you do. You can't just get in there and be like, okay, I need to be making 70 grand today. That doesn't happen. Even though your education is stocked, you have a stockpile of education, it doesn't afford you a $70,000 salary. And so I started at the bottom, still working at the bar across the street though this time. So I made a deal with the bar that I worked at across the street. Like, hey, you know what? I'll work here. You don't even need to pay me. I'll work on tips, but let me park in your lot. Because in downtown Honolulu, there's no parking. So I'm going to work at my day job, a couple of days a week. And I'm going to hit up your parking lot. I'm going to work for you on, 2 days a week. And you don't even need to pay me. I'll draw in the customers because I've already have a customer bank from my last bar. And, we work out a deal that way. I'll make money off my tips. And I always, you make money off tips. I made a lot of money off tips, which I wish I saved, but hey, that's another story. It's feeding my kids, right? And so I did that. And from that, I just grew and grew and grew. I started off answering phones. But here's this master's degree girl that has all her shit together with all her kids in tow. How does she ever freaking survive? I don't know. And now she's filing, answering phone. I did it. I worked my way up though. Then I started drafting. Then I started learning. I worked for a work comp attorney. So I learned everything there was to learn about work comp. I learned everything, it's like you learn things, right? It's like lumbar. What the hell is lumbar? Oh, that's your back. I just started like learning medical terms. I started learning about auto accidents. Next thing you know, the secretary left, boom, I fell into that seat. Now I'm the secretary. Now I'm running the show. Now I'm it. Right? Still not making the money that I should be making with that education, but hey, you got to work yourself up. You got to get to where you got to go. A woman comes in there one day, she's helping us do our IT, and she says, hey, do you want to work for us part-time? This is what we do. boom, jump firms, go to the other firm,
Yeah.
back at the bottom. But now I have a book of things. I do this, that, and the other thing. She's like, do you know how to be a paralegal? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I jump in an interview. I interview with the partner of the firm, right? And he says, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And I be real about it. I said, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'll tell you what, when I learn it, I'm gonna be your best employee. Let me tell you. So they hired me. I got in there. A couple of years later, running the show again. I'm in charge of this department. I'm now a paralegal all of a sudden, right? From knowing nothing about paralegal to now I'm a paralegal. And I made myself versatile. I put myself in every single department there was. I learned everything that there was to learn so that if I didn't have work here, I had work here. If I couldn't do this, I could do that. I put myself out there so that I could be the best that I could be in every single aspect of the firm. And then one of the partners that was, you know, super working hard and he had it all together. I said, why don't you just go on your own? Like, you don't need this firm. And he says, you know what? You're right. He says, you know what? Calls me one day. He's like, you know what? You're going to start my firm for me. I'm like, what? He's like, no, you're going to start my firm. You are going to do it. You have 2 weeks. Bye. And he hangs up on me. And I'm like, how the fuck do I do that? Right.
Yeah.
So I just did what I did. I signed us up, got us a business license, got us our liability. Boom. We started off with me, him, and one other person. And here I am now running the office. I do all the business side of things. He's the attorney on it. We have 15 employees, 9 years in the making. And I mean, basically that's where I'm at. I mean, in overtime, I did have another kid in between all of that. If that makes it any worse. Doing our first year right before we started the business, right before we started the firm, I had another son.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm still in the job. 3 years ago, I want to say now it's like 3 years, I got out of a 20-year relationship with the baby daddy of my last 2 kids.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic. Lot of topic, but I mean, and this is who I am now. This is where I am. I'm in a spot of basically living my life now. My kids are grown. Well, not one. We still have one, but he's going to be double digits this year.
Mm-hmm.
But my kids are good. They're living life. They're all adults, and now it's time for me to live mine.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go back to my adolescence. I want to go back to 15. Can we rewind? No.
No, I'm just listening to your story. Number one, I should say thank you for sharing your story, by the way. Thank you. We appreciate that. Everybody that's listening. No, but just listening to your story just to see all the obstacles that you went through in your life. And that's why I know we were talking about this before the podcast. Like when a lot of people, when people see people on social media, a lot of people don't see the obstacles, the shit that you've went through in your life, right? The things that you've gone through. So, yeah, I know a lot of people. The one thing I just realized with yourself, like, you know, a lot of people watching this, like, you didn't give up.
No, you know? Never.
You didn't give up.
And that's the thing is, like, I never ever give up. I mean, especially when it involves me and my kids. Like, never. Like, I'll fight to the death for my kids, you know.
Yeah.
And I believe that they were placed in my life for that reason. Because if not, I don't know what I'd be doing, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I am crazy. I'm a party person. Like, I love to live my life. And don't get me wrong, I live my life, but just in general, I never give up. And so, you know, even like on social media, I post like, I'm a bad bitch. I'm fucking this and that, because I am. Yeah. I mean, you know, if you hear the whole story now, you're like, fuck, she is, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit there and tell everybody my story, you know? And that's why I'm glad I get this opportunity now. A lot of my friends and people that know me, they're like, you need to write a book. Like, you need to, like, literally, like, you've been through a lot of stuff, you know, and, you know, even through the last course of, you know, the last 20 years of my life being with someone that was toxic for me and all that stuff, you know, we can get into that later. That was a huge obstacle for me to just keep going and to going to college and not listening to we have kids, what are you doing? You know, and all this stuff, you know, it's like, yeah, we have kids and this is what we need to do for them. This is what we need to do. We need to be successful. We need to show them. And I like my kids to see that, you know, and, you know, there's people that see it, you know, there's a lot of people in my life that see it. I have an assistant. I encouraged her to go to law school, which, you know, I'm still considering myself, because that is one of my passions, was to go to law school. Maybe now that I don't have all these kids in my life, I'm able to do so. But I encouraged her to go to law school, and she did. And she's about to sit for the bar in California. And she always tells me that she's grateful for me, you know, pushing her to do and to live out a dream. And the fact that the adversities that I've been through gets her through. She doesn't have any kids. She doesn't, you know, she has a little things here and there, nothing major, but she's like, how the hell did you do it? And that's what I like to tell. I like to tell how I did it, not how you know, how I got here, you know?
Yeah. I do want to ask you, you know, what kept you going? You know, for a lot of people, they wouldn't be able to handle that type of adversity for most people, you know. But you've gone through a lot, but I'm just very interested for you. Like, I'm sure there were a lot of nights and a lot of days that was very tough, you know. And I always tell people, even though we don't, you know, even though there's, you know, I don't believe in giving. I mean, I'm like you. When I want something, I'm committed to something. I don't give up, because of how I grew up in the islands. But there are moments in our life that we want to, you know, but we never do it. But I'm sure you've gone through that. But like, what was for you, like, especially those tough times in your life? Like, what kept you going? Like, what was it? I'm just interested to hear that.
For me, I explained to you this before the podcast. Like, I don't preach, I don't post scriptures. But my faith is very strong. My faith is very, very strong. And when I get into times of, even till now, I mean, I still have those days. Like, I cry in my shower. You know what I mean? It's like, that's life. That's the reality of my life. I just want to say when often people when they hear somebody say they don't give up, they often assume like they're strong all the time. No. I'll tell you, like 95% of the time I am pretty strong. But for me, you know, I mentioned to you, I caretook for my dad before he died. I never showed him that I was sad. Never showed him that I was sad. And I never wanted him to give up. And at the end, he was only fighting for me until I said, Dad, you can go now, because I'm a fighter. I've always been a fighter. And I like to prove people wrong. That's one of my things. And it's bad sometimes, because I will go to the debt to prove that you're wrong. That's my argumentative, debatable side. Like, I'm not going to debate something unless I know I'm like, got proof, facts, and evidence. But when I come, I'm going to come correct, you know? And so for me, I think that was the drive. The drive was to prove to people that, hey, this 16-year-old that made a mistake, she made it, you know, and that's the drive. And my kids, of course, are my drive, you know, because I want my kids to see that, you know, just because you have a shitty life or you have a shitty points in your life, it doesn't mean your life has to be shitty, you know. And for me, it's the show. It's to show people that you can make it. Like, you don't have to put yourself in these deep, dark, you know, depression. And you know, depression is a real thing. I don't knock that. But I never let myself get to that point. You know, we all get sad, we all get down, and I'm like, bitch, get out of your bed. Get going. What are you doing? This is not you. I talk to myself in my head, you know, like, this is what you need to be doing. And that's the drive, you know, that's the don't give up. You know, it's proving to people that you can do it. That's a big thing for me. I'm very competitive in that way. And, you know, just making it, because there's nothing, like, you just have to figure it out. You have to just sit there and figure it out, because there's nothing that's going to stop you from what you want to do. You just have to do it. And you have to believe in yourself to do it. And believing in myself, I believe, is having faith, you know, believing that it can be better, believing there's something out there, there's something better. There's that light at the end of the tunnel. You know, and a lot of it is like, I don't like to preach about God and whatnot, but a lot of people is like, oh, I prayed, you know, it's like, you can't pray for a new car. The car is not going to show up in your driveway. Yeah. You can manifest that out. You can persona, like, you know what, I want a new car, but you have to work towards that. You have to work towards the things that you want. Things are not going to just get handed to you. And that's the drive for me. You know, it's like, okay, I want this. What do I need to do to get there? And how am I going to get it?
I love it. because oftentimes I do hear a lot of people that go through a lot of shit in their life. They go through a lot of obstacles, a lot of pain, a lot of adversity, depression. And often people would reach out to me and ask me, I'm going through a lot of struggles in my life. What do I do? And I always tell people at the end of the day, life comes down to choices, like what kind of choices you're going to make.
Exactly.
And one of my favorite quotes is, you get the life you tolerate. So
Yeah.
I always tell people, look, if people are telling you that you can't do something, that you're ugly, you're not going to amount to anything, you're from a poor neighborhood, you come from a broken family, you literally have two choices. You can just accept that, and that becomes the rest of your life, or you can do something about it. Yep. And you know what I'm saying? So like, it's really just comes down to what are you willing to tolerate? And even, it doesn't matter what, and I always tell people, it doesn't matter what choice you pick, whether you don't do anything about it, whether you do something about it, it's still going to be hard and difficult. But what are you willing to live with? Are you going to willing to live the rest of your life being at the bottom and people telling you that you're never going to amount to anything? Or are you going to, you know what? I'm tired of people telling me what I can or cannot do. And then, I'm going to do something about it, and that's what you did. People are telling you at 16, and that's always the stigma, right? If you have a baby in high school as a teenager, that your life is over. You're never going to amount to anything. So unfortunately, a lot of people, if you watch this, a lot of people fall victim to that. But I always tell people, you got to do something. Do something about it. Just really comes down to like, what are you willing to tolerate? And for me, it doesn't matter of all the things I've gone through in my life. I can't tolerate just letting people telling me, dictate what I can do for my life. And I'd rather do something about it. So I do want to talk a little bit about. I know you mentioned about being a teenage mom. Mm-hmm. And then you said that today there's, of course, I don't remember the statistics, but I remember a long time ago, I saw the percentage, I saw the graph, like there's a big rise of teenage pregnancies now, right? So, and I've had some questions from, I have talked about it in previous podcasts, and I have some questions from teenage moms that ask me questions also for my podcast. But I want to ask you, why do you feel like today, there's a rise in teenage pregnancy today? Based on what you see and based on your own personal experience?
For me, I think it's all education, for one. And for two, it's like, I feel like it's just socially accepted now, more than it was back in my day. It's more socially accepted. The stars, you see the stars having kids, and they make this picture of like, oh, life is grand. And, you watch these reality shows of like teenage pregnancy and all this stuff. And for me, I look at it both ways, and how I like to help people on the topic. Number one, if you're already a teenage mom, I like to be that model, that role model of what, the role model of you can make it, you can succeed. That's why I like to tell the story about the homecoming thing, because I'm sure there's many other girls that would have never put their son on that car with them riding because of the mocking and that stigmatism that they would get from doing that. And I really don't give a shit what people think about me. I never did. Yeah. And so that's why I did what I did. It was making a statement. It was a bold statement, and in my, the way that I thought about it, it actually worked in my favor, because people was like, damn, that's the shit. Yeah. She doesn't give a shit. That's real life. And that's what I like people to think about me, like, that's real life. That's reality. But for the girls that are not pregnant or they're not a teenage mom, I also like to be a role model for them, to show them how much harder it is when you have a kid, to get educated. It's not this fluffy life, like I said, you see on social media, you see a teen mom and they're like, oh, wow, look, they're posting and their kids at the beach and it's so cute. And all their friends are having kids young. And it's like, I need to be a part of this clique. I need to be the play date. I need to make sure that when I do this, I'm going to get this, right. And it's all for show. That's really not what it is. There's a lot of time and effort that either is going to make or break you, and not everyone fails, but a lot of the times, a lot of people don't know how to, or a lot of women especially don't know how to be a parent, right? Because you're not taught all those things, like you go to class and you sit there and you're like, okay, this happens, you have it, okay, this happens, boom, you're pregnant. But you're not living the reality of it. Even having a fake or a rice bag and carrying it around, because that was a project when I was in high school. They did like a rice bag, and that was your baby. You couldn't let it break, and you had to feed. That's not real. Real is a baby waking your ass up. It's real is a baby waking you up all through the night. Real is you having to work to pay for to get you through. And that's another thing, is our systems allow for it, right? Like EBT, welfare, and all of that. And I don't knock anybody for being on it, because that was me. But why do you want to live like that? Why do you want to depend on the system? It makes it so easy for you to just rely on that and not really do anything for yourself. That's what I like to tell people that are, like practicing unprotected sex at a young age. Like, yeah, sure, you're never gonna be homeless. You're never gonna, because there's a system to protect you. But why do you want that for your life and for your kid? Eventually you want to get out of that, and you want to be something for yourself. You want to be content in knowing that you provided for your kid. Maybe not, but that's how I think. I want to be the provider for my kid, period.
Yeah. No, I loved how you brought a great point, for everybody out there. Like, if you have a kid, it's a blessing. It doesn't matter what age you have it. A kid is a blessing.
Exactly.
But I love the point you said, that once you have a kid, you also understand that there's responsibility that comes behind it.
Big responsibilities.
And your life is going to be harder. Yeah. Right. So, like I said, at the end of the day, I think because of social media today, I think there's more influence for people to have sex now, and because we see it at a very young age now. Before,
yes,
earlier. So that's why, like,
really early.
Yeah. No, sometimes I have like I hear my younger nephews, they're still in middle school talking about sex, and then, but I just remember when I was in middle school, I didn't really think of really serious. I mean, we all thought about it, but it wasn't. It was something I was focused on. I didn't really focus on girls till I went to college.
Right. You're focused on sports, and you're focused on other things. I was
still like playing hide and seek.
Exactly. I mean, but now sex is everything. You know what I mean? It's in the music. It's in the TV. Yeah. It's everywhere. It's advertised like it's a cool thing.
It's a cool thing now.
Which it is cool when you're ready to accept the responsibilities of it.
Yeah. Like you said, having procreating, bringing is a blessing, but
it is.
There is a responsibility behind it, and I feel like that's what a lot of kids are not seeing. They're just seeing they're seeing the cup half empty.
Yeah, exactly. Really half empty.
All right, so one of the topics I do want to get into, I know we discussed it, women staying in relationships that are abusive and are toxic, and I know that's something I see a lot nowadays. I see a lot of women, and especially Polynesian women, because that's something I've seen a lot. I mean, I don't really have any other experience in other cultures, but personally, growing up as a Polynesian, I do notice that there's a tendency for a lot of Polynesian women I've seen, that they stay in abusive relationships, or emotional, mental, physical abusive relationships. And I want to ask you, based on your experience, I want to ask you, like, why because that's always bothered me. Well, I do know why, but I want to ask for your opinion. Like, why do you feel like women stay in abusive relationships when they can leave and go find something better?
I feel that women, first of all, sometimes get trapped. In meaning it could be financial, it could be confidence, it could be their insecurities. It could be, there's many different reasons, right? It could be the aspect of love. Yeah. I'm not going to be loved by anyone else. Yeah. The self-worth, knowing that you're enough. So like every year, I just started this thing, and my friend kind of got me into it, is like, I give a word for the year. So last year, my word was enough. And it was enough in the sense of, I am enough. Every woman is enough. We are enough. We are enough, and we are worthy of self-respect, that we don't need to be in these sort of type relationships. And it's tough because like I said, you fall into a trap and you don't know you're in the trap. You're like in this trap and you don't know you're in this trap. You know, not speaking so much of it because it goes really deep, but I was in a relationship for 20 years with the same person. And I love this man. I mean, I love him from a distance now because that's the truth. I'm not gonna lie about it. Will I ever want to be in something with him again? No. And I didn't realize what I was going through at the time, at all of those years. I mean, not all the years were bad. There were good times, you know, he helped me raise my 2 other kids that wasn't his. He worked really hard and all that other stuff, but there was other things going on with him personally that he has to want to help himself to get out of, you know, without not talking so much about it. But I fell into that toxic too. You know, I became an ugly person too. But when you're in this emotionally, can you hear these chickens? Is it loud?
It's all good.
Hear it?
I can hear it, but it's fine.
I'm like, why are these chickens making so much noise right now? My neighbor got chickens. It's so freaking irritating. I want to like call the nuisance hotline or whatever. But anyway, let me close it really quick. Shit, sorry.
It's all good.
I don't want it to be loud. Yeah, and so sorry. So, but I didn't realize that I was in it. My friends would say, like, why do you allow him to talk to you like that? Why do you want to fight all the time? Why do you allow holes in your walls? Why do you allow? And I'm like, no, but I love him. But I love him. Yeah, I love him so much. I love him. I love him. I love him. And that's the only reason why I stayed, is because I love too hard.
Yeah.
I gave up my own self-dignity, my own worth, my own being enough because I loved him. And I always felt like there could be change. And a lot of women, I believe that that's what they believe. They're going to change, right? So for example, ever since I got cheated on, I don't tolerate cheating. I don't tolerate anybody cheating. You know, if people do it, I don't judge them. My friends do it, you know, they hear it from me. They hear it from me. Believe me, they hear it from me. But it's not like I'm going to love them any less. It's just, what are you doing? You are hurting someone. You are hurting a family. You are hurting whatever it is. And, you know, a lot of times guys be in my DMs and I see they have like a girl in their profile. I'm just like, I don't even respond to them because you're disrespecting your other half. I mean, I'm not going to be that girl because I was the girl that was getting cheated on, you know, that I got cheated on, which basically changed my whole outlook in life, you know? And so, you know, I think these women stay because they feel like there's nothing more. You get used to it. It's like a habitual thing. You get used to it. You know, I got used to being called a bitch all the time. I mean, I got used to be called a C word all the time. I'm not going to even say it on here, but I can use it in a sentence now and it doesn't affect me. Usually people hear that, they're like, holy shit. Yeah. You said the C word, you know, and I'm like, but for me, that was normal. You know, being called names, being degraded, you know, being called a shitty mom, being called a fake Christian, being called Pilau, you know, you're a dumb bitch, right? But I love him. You know, you get mad, you break up for like a week or two, back into the trap. You get out of the trap, you fall right back in the trap. That was my life for 20 years, legit. And it was like that from the beginning, and it was okay. Then it got progressively worse. I'm not going to say I was perfect in the relationship. Yeah. Because I wasn't perfect. I never cheated. I never did. I've said hurtful things too. But at the end of the day, when you're being called names, you become defensive. I became defensive. That's what made me be a defensive person. I'm learning how to be less defensive to anyone. But that's what I learned over time. That became a trait for me, to just be defensive and to just pop off anytime someone popped off on me, because that's the life that I was living. I was in this trap. And I didn't really know that I was in this trap until this last time. It was the final straw for me. I kind of just woke up one day and was like, that's it. You give them an ultimatum. This is your last ultimatum. You walk away. You don't look back. 20 years. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people can't do that. And it's sad because I have a lot of friends who are in long-term relationships that are so toxic and so ugly, but they'll never walk away because you're looking at the time, right? You're looking at, oh, but I spent 20 years with this person. I spent half my life with this person. I know him better. He knows me better than anyone else on this planet. But at the end of the day, we're not meant to be. It's very toxic. If one person changes and the other person doesn't change, it doesn't work that way. But it took me stepping out and walking away and actually talking to what I call a feelings doctor. That's what my son calls it, a feelings doctor, of her explaining to me, which I love her to death, is that now I'm on the outside. Now I'm looking in. I'm like, why did I stay?
Yeah.
What is wrong? I want to fucking slap me 20 years ago. Like, what are you thinking? But it's that love aspect. It's that security. It's that, you know, is there anybody else going to love me like this? Is there anybody else that's going to be willing to die for me? Is there anybody else? That's the father of my kids. That's another one, right? You have a kid with someone and you feel obligated to stay for your family. And towards the ending of our relationship, that's kind of why I stayed, for my kids. Because you don't want a broken home. You know, I mentioned my parents were never divorced. I've had friends who had parents that divorced when they were young and they were fucked up. You know, their parents were divorced. They were a mess. And I didn't want to do that to my kids. I wanted my kids to have both parents. But why do you want to be in a relationship for your kids to have both parents that are toxic and ugly and the kids see that? My kids have seen some shit, you know, and there's nothing I can do about it now. Now I wish I never let them see all of that. But, you know, what can I do now? You can't do anything now. You can't dwell on the past. But definitely, I feel like that's why women stay. You know, they stay for different reasons, and they don't want to give up that. You know, it can be financial, like I said, or it can just be emotional. It can be mental. They don't want to give it up. You know, they think there's nothing else out there for them. You know, and like I said, and I'm speaking because I have a lot of friends that are in the same boat as I was. But I can tell you, like, I'm happier than I ever been in my entire life. And you know what is funny? I said that the other day. I said, you know what? I'm so happy about this something. And my daughter said, holy shit, Mom, I never heard you say that you were happy. Those words never came out of your mouth. You actually said, I'm happy. That's big. That's big for me because I never realized that I never really did say that. So now I'm saying it every day, like, shit, I'm happy. You know, I'm happy. It's like weird. It's weird. Yeah, for sure.
No, I love a lot of the things that you said, but I know one of the things I have noticed, you know, especially Polynesian women, you know, when they come from families that they saw their parents stay together, right? So naturally, you want the same thing.
Yes, definitely, right? Because you know, you had both parents, whether they were, you know, my dad was an alcoholic for most of my life. Up until I think I was like maybe I want to say like right when I had my son, when I was like 16, he quit drinking. And that was huge. I mean, my dad wasn't abusive. My dad never called my mom names. I mean, not in front of us, maybe behind closed doors, but my dad was always very respectful of my mom. But we seen, you know, the broken windshields, the broken windows, the holes in the walls, that it kind of became acceptable. Like that was okay. So when that was actually happening to me in a much higher level, I guess it was okay. I wasn't scared, you know, it wasn't scary. Right. And like I said, you know, things become acceptable. Like I had a friend, like she texted me one day and she's like, oh my God, I'm done with this guy. He called me a bitch. And I was like, that's it. Right. Cause for me, that's normal. But for someone that's never been called a bitch, whoa, that's big, you know, like, it's big. It's a big thing. And I didn't realize that because I was in it. I was in that trap.
Yeah, it's usually like the love we seek from other people. It's usually the love that we see at home. So whatever that love is, whatever it's, if your parents were fighting, if your parents did a fight, then that's usually the expectations of what we go seek from another person. So if you grew up in a home where, and that's why I always say to a lot of people is, when you realize we're in a toxic relationship, and especially with somebody you have kids with, And I know the always the argument, the justification for most people, especially women, I want to keep the family together, right? Because their parents are together. The one thing I will always say is like, I know as much as you want to keep the family together, but the real thing is what's going to happen. The biggest problem is what's going to happen is if you stay in a unhappy relationship, then that's what's going to be your kids' expectation of what a relationship is. So one thing I always hear from a lot of, it's better to leave, whether your baby mama or your baby daddy, and go find somebody that you love. So that way, when your kids grow up, they can see healthy love from their parents.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's all. When they're just talking from people that have gone through it, and they always say, looking back, like you say, when they finally look back at it and realize, man, I should have left earlier, because they realized that when they what they were only showing it to themselves, but they were actually showing that to their kids, and then their kids, and then that cycle keeps going over and over until somebody breaks it and realizes, finds their self-worth and self-value, and breaks that cycle, and it has a healthy relationship. So, and we could just go right into knowing your own worth and independence and for confidence. But I'd also want to ask you, like, for those women out there, is it really about just being comfortable? Like, I feel like it's because we get so comfortable, and it's really, really hard to leave and think there's something better out there. Hello? Oh,
it is.
Did we cut off?
It is. It's about being comfortable in your own skin. Oh,
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Yep. You hear me?
Okay. It is about, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's almost like comfort food, right? You eat comfort food. You know, like how they say, like, when some people, they gain a lot of weight because they're going through something, you find something to attach to, right? Some people, it's exercise, so they lose a lot of weight because you find something to keep you busy. Women, I feel like they attach to the person, to the human, and that becomes their like thing, right? When you can actually attach to other things, like you can attach to exercise, you can attach to hiking, you can attach to swimming, whatever your passion is, you can attach to that, and that can be your drive, or that can be your focus, more than being in this toxic. Really, it's uncomfortable. You don't know it's uncomfortable. You think it's comfortable, right? Because it's cushy, and like they're always going to be there. They're going to be there in your morning. They're going to be there in your night. A lot of people ask me this: how do you sleep alone? Like after all these years, you slept with somebody in the bed for 20 years, and now you're like alone, whatever. And I'm like, you just get used to it. You just get used to it, and I have my kids, I have friends. You keep yourself busy to get out of this like shift of your life. Mm-hmm. Like my feelings doctor told me, you're learning to live without him. Mm-hmm. You're learning to live without someone. And it is like a comfort. It's like a teddy bear, right? Like when kids have a teddy bear to sleep, like their snuggly or their little thing that they have as like a security blanket. At some point, when you grow up, you kind of let go of the security blanket, right? As a child, you realize that you don't really need it. I mean, you might still have it in your closet, but you're not sleeping with it when you're 20 years old. You've kind of like, that's still my security, but it's in the closet. It's the same in a relationship. You just hang on to this security blanket because you think that's it's comforting you, and it's going to change or whatever it is, when really it's not. You have to be comfortable when you're happy. Like when you're happy, that's when you're comfortable. When you're happy doing what you're doing and you're passionate about doing what you're doing, whether it's art, it can be anything, dance, art, whatever it is, you can focus off, and I don't recommend, like, people always tell me this too. It's like, I don't recommend like, oh, you leave one thing to get into another thing. You leave one guy to go to the next. Going and moving on to the next person, if you're not healed within yourself, you're just taking that ugly, toxic to someone else. And that's where I'm at. People are like, oh, how come you don't go on dates? And how come you don't do this? Because I feel like I'm still toxic in a way. I mean, I learned and I'm better from it. But why do I want to put that ugly on someone else? When I'm ready to do that, I will. When I'm ready to be in a committed relationship, I will. Right now, I'm not willing to do that. I'm willing to heal myself, you know, and a lot of people are not, a lot of women in general are not willing to take that step. They don't realize that they can walk away from that comfort and heal themselves in different ways. And like I said, a lot of it is finances too, right? You know,
Yeah.
I always try to tell women, like, you need to go find something that's going to help you make money. What do you like to do? You know, it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but something so where you're not depending on a man to pay for you, because that's a big thing. You know, it's like, well, I can't leave him. He pays the rent.
Yeah.
I can't leave him. He, you know, but then a lot of men, I mean, I'm not going to talk about all men, but there's a lot of men that use that as a crutch, that use that to keep them there. Like they get into argument, boom, you go buy a Louis bag. You know,
Yeah.
you get into an argument, boom, bitch, I'm going to buy you a new car. No, you try to get to a point where you don't need that shit. You don't need that from anybody, period. Doesn't matter if you, I mean, it can go vice versa. It can be a man too. You know, it can go, is like, you know, they shouldn't depend on a man for anything, you know. You should be able to be self-sufficient, and that way you can walk out of this things. But you know, a lot of women say because they're comfortable in what they have, they don't want to work, they don't want to climb, they don't want to go through the struggle because it's so hard. And every day, what am I going to do now? I got to get a job, now I got to do this, you know. And it's like, yeah, but you'd rather stay in being called a bitch every day and getting your walls punched in, and you know.
Yeah. Hey, I also want to ask you, do you feel like sometimes, because this is something I've heard from a lot of women, they also say because of the age factor also, because, you know, a lot of women, they stay in toxic relationships, especially once they get past 30. A lot of, you know, for a lot of women, they feel like that after 30, even if they do leave the relationship, it's really hard to date or find somebody after 30. So as they get older, they stay. Do you feel like that had a big impact for you, or is that something you also see as well from a lot of women?
Well, for me, when me and my ex were splitting up, he said that. He's like, we're old already. He said it to me. He said, we're old already. I don't want to have to look for anyone else. I don't want to have to, you know, blah, 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 blah. And for me, I'm like, age is nothing but a number.
Yeah.
I've always thought that way. Age is nothing but a number. My kids hate it. Right?
Yeah.
Kids are like, Mom, why do you have a TikTok? Like, what the fuck? You know, Mom, you're on my friends' Instagram feeds. Mom, you're all over Explorer. I don't give a shit. Just like the girl that had her son on her lap going through the homecoming parade. I don't give a shit. I don't care what people think. To me, age is nothing but a number. I feel like, but you're right. Women will stay in it. Older women mostly, right? Because it's like, who's gonna want me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm 50. I'm 45. There's always going to be someone out there. There's always going to be someone out there. And I believe that that's how the universe works. In my mind, the universe works that way. When that time is to happen or whatever it is, it's like your story plays out, but something will come for you. Something will come for you. And, you know, I just posted about this the other day. Like, I'm looking for a better version of myself by myself. And if the universe provides someone to be a part of it in my life, somehow it happens, so be it. If not, I'm not going to go out and be like, oh my God, I got to find somebody. I'm getting older. Nobody's going to want me. I'm going to be lonely, you know, blah, 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 blah. I don't believe that. I don't put those negative thoughts in my mind. But I know that is a huge factor for women, like especially women over maybe 30, 35, right? It's like, I'm not going to find somebody else. But if I'm going through that, he's going through that. She's going through that. He's going through that. There's a whole bunch of other people that are in the pool of going through the same thing. So eventually there's billions of people in the world, you know, eventually there's going to be some sort of match, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
so this is a good topic. This is a good topic I do want to talk about. Because this is some of the questions I do receive from a lot of the feedback, especially when we talk about trying to find love, trying to date over 30. I do have a lot of friends who are women. They're over 30. Like I say, like just like you, they believe in themselves. You know, they have so much confidence. They found their self-worth and self-value. But they struggle. They struggle with attracting a man, right?
Mhm.
And I think I saw a statistic where it's like I think if a woman that's over 40, they have like a 40% chance of like not getting married again, right? But then the men after 40, they still able to get married, right? So they're still able to get married because now in today's culture, men marry younger girls.
Yes.
But then it's really hard for an older woman to marry a younger guy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we have conversations about is like, I want to ask you, like, because I know that when I talk to a lot of women that over 30 and they're trying to find love, most of them would say, hey, if he comes, he comes, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. But for you, is there a specific age where if it doesn't come, like, would there be like, okay, I need this, would be some level of concern? I'm just interested to hear that.
So my friends tease me. My friends play a big part in my life. I have a bunch of besties that they actually get me through my day. And that's another thing is, you need to surround yourself with people that are going to support you, that are for you. And, I have a lot of them. But my friends always tell me, we have this running joke because I've never been married. Okay. And my whole thing about marriage is I don't want to get a divorce. Okay. I don't know why, but it's always been. And so for me, it's like when someone is going to commit to me, they're going to commit and we're going to commit. We're going to have this covenant. That's in my mind. And we're not going to break that covenant. So I've never been married. And so they tease me. They're like, your time is ticking. Yeah. Hurry up. They're like, by the time you get married, we're going to have walkers and wheelchairs. And we're going to have scooters and canes going down the aisle. And for me, that could be true, but I'm not giving myself a time frame. I'm not going to do that to myself because that puts on too much pressure of actually wanting it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. There's thousands of guys in my DMs want to go on a date. Thousands of guys trying to hit me up. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thousands. Yeah. I mean, and we're ranging from like freaking 23-year-olds to freaking 60-year-olds. It's a huge range. But I'm not going to rush into it because I believe that love is going to find me. I believe that. Yeah. Because I believe I'm the big believer in karma also, right? I'm a believer in what you persona out is what you get back. And I believe that there's something good for me, for all the good that I've done in my life, because I've done a lot of good for a lot of people, a lot. And for all the shit that I've been through, I believe that there's someone out there for me that either it's going to be in this lifetime or the next. But you know what I mean? I believe that there is going to be something. I mean, I did the whole wifey thing. I mean, I did it from when I was 16 years old. That relationship was 7 years. The next I did that. I've been there. I've done that. I still can't do that. I still cook, clean. Like, I'm a great package. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and that's another thing of like giving yourself a timetable. I'm like, shit, if I put a number on me, I mean, all the things that goes on with me, like, and, a lot of guys, they DM me about me too. Like, oh, you have a good personality. You're funny. You have a good vibe. You're attractive. You're this, you're sassy. I have all these like adjectives coming at me, which I like because all these years I've been called negative things, right? Bitch, this, that, the other thing. Now I have all these like great adjectives that come towards me, which I'm grateful for. But that just makes my package price higher and higher and higher. You know what I mean? Like, I have my own job. I don't need your money. So that's great. I mean, what guy doesn't want someone that's ambitious, that has their own money? My kids are grown. You don't have to take care of my kids. Like, there's all these things that that comes with my package that makes me so much worth that you can put a dollar on it. You can't put a number sign on it. And so I feel like it is going to take me time because now I'm wiser, wisdom, right? I'm wiser and I know what I'm going to accept and what I'm not going to accept, right? It's like I was dating someone and I knew this person for a long time, whatever. And he was in someone else's DMs, and just so happened, he didn't know that I knew the person, and we got together randomly. And things always happen like this for me. Things fall into my lap like this. We got together randomly. She showed me what he was saying, and I was like, I mean, I don't even give a shit if he cheated with her. I don't give a, you know what I mean? And I know she didn't, but what I'm saying is, I don't care if he cheated with someone else. I don't care what he did. You are disrespecting me by saying these things to another woman in another woman's DM. There's 1,000 other guys that want this opportunity. Gotta go.
Yeah. So what I would try to, so I do want to discuss with you, like, what's the solution? Because that's the conversation. Because like you said, like, and I'll take it back to something you said, like, because I say you believe that's gonna happen. No, right. I do believe in that. But I remember you did this example, like a car. You can't just believe you're gonna get a brand new car. There has to be something that you have to do. So if you look at statistically, there's a big population of women over 40 that's not getting married compared to like our parents' time, right? So I just want to ask you, like, so for the women out there, just like you, they're trying to find a husband, but apparently they're not attracting or getting married or attracting a guy or getting a guy that, of course, you can attract guys in DMs, like they want to have sex and just want to have one night stand. But to attract a man, like attract a man that's going to come in and be that and put a ring on the finger and be that reliable, faithful man. So what's the solution? So women in your situation, women that's watching this right now, they're like you, they're in the same situation as you. They went through a hard relationship. They went through their own self-love journey like you, found their worth, found their value, know what to accept, what not to accept. They have a great personality. They, like you said, make your own money, but they still struggle to find somebody to attract a guy that's going to come in and marry them. So I guess what I'm saying is, what's the solution? What is the solution?
Like, for me, I believe in laws of attraction as well, right? You're going to attract what you attract. I have a lot of trust issues just because of my past. So it's hard for me to actually actually like put myself out there. But I would say just be real. Just be real with who you are in whatever you do. You can meet somebody at the grocery store. I mean, you can meet somebody in an elevator. You have to network. That's what I do. I network in all different aspects of my life. I'm a social person. Not everyone is social also. There's a lot of people that are very introverted, but I'm an extrovert, obviously. And so I just be very real. I be very real with who I am. I'm genuine. I like to talk to people. I talk to people. I meet people. I do what it is that I do. And you know what? Maybe over time I will put myself out there as far as like dating, but going through the whole thing of telling everybody your favorite color, what you do, telling everybody your whole life over and over and over again is also tiresome, right?
Yeah.
To having to explain why you're at where you're at. Because a lot of people don't understand. If you don't go through the process, you don't understand. Why is she like this? Why is she that, like I said, what you post is different from who you are most times. Most people don't really share their real self. But I think that you'll know, once you put yourself, like for me, I have a lot of DMs. Like I said, it is a lot. And the ones that, if I have time, I'll respond to them. And the ones that I respond to are people that I believe that are actually real people, not just trying to like fuck me or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, as soon as someone DMs me something stupid, block. That's not what I'm trying. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here for that. I put myself out there in a way that I want to be real. I want to be transparent to people. And I think that if women do the same, I mean, I don't necessarily mean meet someone through social media, because you could be talking to a fake. You know what I mean? You don't even really know. Back to old school, like where you actually meet someone in through networking or through the store or whatever. I don't do dating apps either. I don't need to. I feel like that's kind of weird. I don't judge people who do. But I definitely feel networking is it, like through your friends, or you get yourself involved in things like clubs, the gym. I'm involved in a lot of shit. Like I go to the gym. I have a trainer. I just involve myself in a whole bunch of other, it keeps you busy, but it also helps you to meet people and to network. And when the timing is right, I believe in the laws of attraction, and that's going to happen, but I don't feel that women have to be like, I feel like they shouldn't be like on a ticking time clock. Like, I need to do this, I need to do that. And I don't know if there's a real solution for it, but that's how I deal with it. I just network. I keep myself busy. And when you do need a male aspect on things, you do,
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of male friends that are real friends. Like, one of my best friends is a guy. Like, I'll call him and be like, is this too much boobs? I'm going to a funeral. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll FaceTime him and he's like, what do you want? And I'm like, is my ass showing through this? Can you see? You know what I mean? Because I want to know from a male's perspective what he's thinking, and it'll be like, too much, or put a down jacket on, or like whatever it is, and so sometimes you do need that male perspective or that male opinion. So I do have a lot of guy friends. I have a lot of guy friends, and I use them in that way, or we'll go out to eat, or like whatever it is, and it's nothing more than that because we're friends. But it takes a lot for a guy to become a good friend to me, because I always feel like it's always an ulterior motive when you want to be my friend.
Oh, of course.
When what I mean? There's always something. There's always something. When you need more from me than I need from you, then we're not friends.
Yeah, I do believe there's no such thing as friends between men and women.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's no such thing.
It's so crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
So I want to ask you. So what type of okay, because I know one day you do want to find a man one day. Like, what's the age range of the type of man you're looking for?
Well, I'm trying to, and sometimes I'm not even going to put a number on it. I'm going to say they have to be older than my kids.
Okay. So like right now, what's that age? What's the minimum you date? What's the minimum age you date?
I would say maybe 38.
38?
Maybe.
Okay. Maybe.
38 and up. It depends. Because you know what? People mature at different ages, honestly. And so like I know some really young kids that I was like, shit, I wish I could date him. But he's fucking younger than my kid. You know what I mean? That would just be no, I'm not gonna do that. They have like their shit together, They went to school, or maybe not, but they have a trade, or they work and they make good money and they work hard. And you could tell by talking to them, they can hold a conversation.
Yeah.
I have to be with somebody that can hold a conversation. I'm a scholar, right? And so I want to be able to hold a conversation like how we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could shoot the shit with you. I could come to LA, we could have lunch.
Yeah,
I could shoot the shit with you. You know what I mean? I like that, when I can have a conversation. But the reason why I'm not saying like, oh, I want to go with like someone my age or like in the 50 to 60 area is because I still like to go out. I still like to have a good time. I still like to party a little bit. You know what I mean? Not craziness, but
just have fun.
And have a few drinks, dancing,
have
and
fun.
stuff like that. Yeah. And people like my age are not. Some of them are just, they're done already. They're done with all that. They don't, they're not reliving their life like I am.
Yeah.
And that's what I have my friends for, That's what I have my friends for. It's like, okay, we're going out tonight. I just went out last night, friends, But I definitely think that people mature at different ages. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific age, but they have to have their shit together, And I just had a question on my podcast last week, like, what turns you on? And one of my answers was someone that actually makes their own money, that's ambitious, that makes their own money. Because I didn't work this hard. You heard my story.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, there's way more to the story, but you heard the juice, right?
Yeah.
And so now I'm gonna go that sleeps on his mom's couch. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? And so what would turn me on is if a guy actually, they don't have to make the same amount of money as me. I can make more money than them. I was with somebody for a long time. I made double. You know what I mean? But, it has to be somebody that's going to actually put themselves out there to make their own money and to be independent, so that if we split up, that person's going to make it. Not like, oh, well, I can't make my rent, you're leaving me, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, you got to be able to stand on your own. You got to be able to have a job. You need to live in your own place, period. Like, I'm not gonna, I don't want to come to your mom's house.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, think about it. Here I am creeping through your mom's house. Like, bitch, I'm old. I own a home. You know what I'm saying? I own a house. Like, I don't want to be walking through your mom's house just to come and see you.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, people go through hard times, so I'm not gonna knock that. You know, maybe they're going through divorce. They're on their mom's couch. Well, bitch, you better invite me to a hotel. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, and I'm not saying that I'm bougie, that I'm high end.
No, that's common. That's logical. That's logical.
I'm just saying, I'm reasoning.
No, that's reasonable.
And level.
No, that's reasonable. Yeah.
And another thing that I said that was a turn on was, at this day and age, most people that I date are gonna have kids, and I have to accept that. They maybe have an ex or whatever it is. Number one, take care of responsibility. If I don't see you taking care of your kids, bitch, I'm out. You need to be taking care of your kids.
Okay. You
need to be responsible for your kids. You need to be calling them, checking on them, because I'm on the other end of the stick now, right? I expect that from my baby. I expect him to be taking care of my son because he's the father, right?
Yeah.
So as a father, if I'm dating you and you have kids and you're not taking care of them and you're like, oh, I don't know. It's like, why? Why do I want to be with someone that's going to tell me they love me when their own flesh and blood is out there and you're not even communicating with them, you're not even loving on them? That's dumb, straight dumb, right? And also, like a turnoff for me is like, they're gonna sit there and talk about their ex. No, there's always two sides to the story.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm sure my ex is out there singing a tune about me and I don't really give a shit. But at the end of the day, you heard my story. That's my story, you know, and you can't judge people by hearing from what other people say about them, especially when you're in love with someone. I fell in love with someone and this fool was telling me like, oh, this bitch did this, that. Well, what did you do to her? What did you do to her? Yeah. You know, I dated a guy and he really talked shit about the mother of his kids and stuff like that. And, you know, and they had a shitty like relationship. And I helped him do a few things for his kid. You know, and I tell this story, he wanted me to sit in the front at his son's graduation. And I was fine with that as long as the mother had a ticket to sit in the front too. You don't put me before the mother of your child in that situation. When it comes to your kids, that's one thing. You and I dating, that's another thing. She ain't coming between that. But you and your kids, I'm not coming between that. That's that's her child, you know? And I helped with a lot of the things. And one day I just went up to her and I said, you know what? I don't care what happened between you and him. That's between you and him. You and I have nothing going on. I can love your kids just as much as you love your kids, but I ain't trying to be their mother. I ain't never going to be their mom, you know? And to me, huge thing for me, huge thing. Because like I said, I'm at the other end of the stick. I would hope that my exes, whatever, would come up and do the same thing to me. You have that respect for me. I'm the mother of these children, not you. You know, to me, that's a turn on. And so when you're saying like what I'm looking for in a man or what age you want to put on it, those are the kind of things that I'm looking for. You know, do you take care of your kids? Do you do that? You know, it's more like things than a number, than an age. Okay. And even when it comes to finances, yeah, it's not really a number, but yeah, it is. Right? Yeah. Because, you know, I need somebody that's gonna be on my side. Okay. Not trying to be me dragging you along.
So 38 is like, to you, 38 is like the minimum. Generally speaking,
I would say 38. Yeah. I mean,
and the oldest you date, generally speaking.
Because I just said about the whole partying aspect of it, like at 55, do you still like to go out? I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to go too much older. I don't want somebody dying like before me. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like my friends always tease me. They're like, bitch, take one for the team. You know, like you gotta find somebody old that's about to kick the bucket that's gonna give you all your millions. And I'm like, shut up. You know, like I'm not that person either. Like I'm definitely not a gold digger, and I hate when people tell me that. I hate someone like commented on something to me, like I made a TikTok joking about you all want to show me my TikTok was basically, oh, everybody wants to show me their package.
Yeah.
But the only package I want to see is your 401k, your W-2, your child support statement, and then somebody commented, "Oh, you're a gold digger." No. You heard my story. You saw where I've been and where I came through. There's no gold digging. If I want, believe me, if I wanted to go dig, I could be with a lawyer. I could be whatever I want to be with. I have that ability. I know how to talk. I know how to be. I'm a scholar. I'm smart. Like, I'm not stupid. I could be with a professional if I wanted to. You know, if I was into just the money, but I'm not. I'm not into the money. So calling me a gold digger is like.
All right, cool. So, all right. So, yeah, as long as you date anybody, as long as they have those things, those qualities that you mentioned, and they're serious.
Those are the top qualities. I mean, there's other things, you know? And you know what's so funny? So one of the questions on my podcast is, what is the turnoff for you? And I said, you know what? You can find a turnoff on a date immediately. And they're like, what is that? I'm like, if they don't tip. If I go on a date and this fool doesn't put out a tip, oh, I'm done with you. You know, because I was a bartender, I was a server, I was that person working for a tip. If that server is good and that server is taking care of you, bringing you your food, you better tip.
Yeah.
Or I'm tipping and make you look dumb.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned that you haven't been married, right? You haven't been married. One of the questions I always hear from a lot of women is, how long do you date a guy before if he doesn't marry at a certain time, you gotta leave. If he doesn't put in a ring.
That's a crazy question. That's a loaded, crazy question.
Yeah, how long is too long? Because
I mean, I was proposed to 3 times.
Yeah.
But I feel that when I feel in my heart that that's the one and that's the time, that's what I'm gonna do it. It doesn't matter if it's. I mean, I feel like to get to know somebody, you need to at least 2 years. At least 2 years to get to know someone. You get to know their background and, you know, to see if they're real or not. You know what I mean?
2 years is reasonable.
2 years is
reasonable.
But
how long? How long is too long? Like 10 years? You can't. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't take 10 years for a guy not to propose.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like when that person is ready to do it, they're gonna, you know, when that guy's ready to propose, I got to be in that spot. I got to feel that feel. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying is, like, if you are ready, once you get to that point of your life that you're ready, you find a guy, you know, everything he fits the criteria, everything, you guys vibe, everything. 2 years have gone by, he hasn't said anything. 3 years gone by, he hasn't said anything. Like, when do you start? Okay,
shit. I mean, at this point in my life, like, my answer might have been different 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But at this point in my life, I mean, I don't even know if I want to get married. And here's the thing.
Okay.
I always have to stop myself because I am this big gala party person. I like to throw all these parties. That's all I did my whole life is throw parties. My kids have birthday party every year. They're freaking 25 happy birthday parties. Okay. Mm-hmm. I do it every year. I feel like life needs to be celebrated. So anything to celebrate, even like my family funerals, I make it into a celebration of life. We're celebrating, right? And so for me, I'm like, my wedding has been planned in my head for 30 years of my life. And I'm feeling it. I have to stop myself because my wedding self wants to do it. Because my wedding self wants that gala, wants to put that dream to reality. But my emotional and my mental side is like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Is this the one? Is this what you're going to live with? Is this what you're going to do? Is this the, you know? So the last 2 guys that I dated mentioned it in short periods of time. You know,
when you say mention, was it mentioned or did they propose?
One was sort of, the proposal wasn't with words, but there was jury involved. There was definitely rings involved, but it wasn't actually, because I told him in the very beginning, don't fucking do it until you think that I'm like, don't, because you're going to get no. And I don't want to break your heart. You know, I put that persona out there in the very beginning, like, look, I'm in a deep place. I'm coming off of 20 years. I need to do this, da 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 da. I kind of latched on so early out of that 20 years.
Okay.
And then it got to be, the guy was great. The guy is really great. He's a great catch. Just not for what I thought I wanted it to be. It got very possessive. And I was in possessive relationships, and I don't like that. I don't like that I can't be myself. Like, well, you can't wear this. What is that? Your shorts are too short. And oh, why are you talking to this guy? I don't know. I'm not. No. When you trust someone, you trust them 150%. I was with the same man for 20 years, people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Never, ever, ever cheated on this man. Like, I can put it down. Like, I never slept with anybody else. Like, I put my kid's life on that. I never slept with anyone else, you know? I slept with the same man for 20 years. Yeah, people find that hard to believe, but that's my loyalties, you know? And so, you know, for this whole thing, it's like I fell into this thing, and then it was like, I know he didn't want to ask, but there was rings involved, you know? I got rings. I got 2 rings, you know, that go on the same finger. So it was something like that. It was just, I don't think he asked, but my kids were like, what the fuck? Because he had put the ring on the Christmas tree, and then I found it on the Christmas tree, and my son was like, what the fuck? I hope he's not proposing. You know what I mean? That was only like within a year. And then I dated the next guy, and the next guy was like, oh, marry me. You know, he always just said it, but it was never really a real proposal. But it was like, you know, just marry me. Because
were these younger guys or older guys? Older than you?
My age, yeah.
Same
like,
age?
Around the same age.
Okay.
But I think it's because I give that off. You know, I give that sense of, I give myself so much. Like, I give my 100%. In a relationship, when you're my boyfriend, like, I give you 100%. So you're like, fuck, she can cook, she cleans, she's fun. Like, that whole package is like, it's a good package. So they notice that right away, and they want to like trap it, right? But I'm like, okay, but are you trapping it for your own needs, or you're trapping it because you really want to be a part of it? You know, I feel like a lot of men.
So you're saying is when so you're saying when they say trap, like they're marrying you, but then you want to be able to be yourself?
Yeah,
like you have to fit
they're trapping me. They're trapping me so that there's a stability there for them while they're out there doing shit maybe that is still part of their demons. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Like, so they were still going to do their own shit.
Yeah, they're, you know, they still have somebody at home, because I'm that persona of everything they want, but they still want to go dick around and do what they need to do. They're not at my level of actually being that person, you know? Like, I feel like I don't know if a lot of women feel like this, but I feel like this. I feel like a lot of men, a lot of guys, they like the idea of me until they get me. Then it's like, damn, she's hard to handle, right? Because I don't put up with shit. And why should I? You know? And I think in a way, sometimes I'm intimidating in that way. You know, I think some women are like the very women that you speak about that make their own money. It's hard to date. It's hard to find someone. It's dating in a certain way, his role in the relationship, right? But it's not going to be where you're like above me and I'm submissive. There's times to be submissive in a relationship, and you know, that's not one of them. Like, for me, it's like, we got to be like equals. We got to be equals. I don't like to be in relationships where it's like, you know, you need to be here, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's like, no, I don't need to do anything. I want to do it. Like, oh, you need to cook dinner. It's like, I don't need to cook you dinner. Instead of like, oh, babe, what's for dinner tonight? Are you going to make something? It's like, oh, you need to go cook dinner. Wait, excuse me. You know, it's the way you talk to me is how you're going to get a response out of me. And I think I can be very intimidating because it's hard. So I understand where you're coming from, where you're saying other women feel the same way. It's hard to date. It's hard to find someone because you're at this level that you don't want to bring yourself too far down. You know, like, I'm willing to bring myself down a couple notches, as my friends say. You need to come down a couple of notches. You're never going to find anybody. And I'm like, but I built myself all the way up, you know? Why should I bring it down for someone else's, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'm selfish in that way right now because I've given myself away so many times to get nothing really back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, because I often hear that from a lot of women too. But also, do you ever look into like love languages, like understanding the different love languages of men and women, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, so like for women, your love language is like fidelity. You guys want that the man to show you ultimate commitment to you emotionally,
Right.
physically, right? You guys want that intimacy and that fidelity, that loyalty from that man. That's
Right.
why you guys. That's your love language. So whenever you see a woman, you can tell the woman. I mean, women can have sex with a lot of guys, but you can tell the guy that she's really committed to is when she gives her all to that one man. Like
Right.
she's willing.
Exactly.
She's willing to drop all the other guys for this one
Right.
guy.
Exactly.
That's how you know that that's serious. And for men, it's not about like loyalty, fidelity. We show our love through like provision, protection, and putting a roof over.
Right.
Taking that responsibility to provide for you. So a guy can have sex with all these girls, but you know the one girl he really is committed to is the one he's willing to put a roof over her head.
Right.
Like he's willing to give up his resources.
Give it up.
A guy won't just pay for any woman.
Exactly.
Especially when he takes the responsibility of providing, putting a roof over their head, taking care for her. So I often hear a lot of girls like, "Oh, this guy's always giving me my time and we're having sex." I think it was like, but has he taken a responsibility to provide for you? Until he takes that step, that's how you know commitment, right?
Right.
So I do hear from a lot of women, like you said, they're very strong, very independent, they can do everything. And they say that one of the conversations I'll have with them is like, I struggle to find a guy to come in and attract them. And I always tell them, well, for a lot of guys, our love language is through provision and protection. Mm-hmm. And for a lot and I can relate to this when guys see women, like in our mind, I don't think some of us we're not conscious of it, but in our mind, when we see a woman, of course, we see somebody that's beautiful, that's vibrant, that's party. But at the end of the day, like we always have to make sure that we can come into their life and protect and provide for them, because that's how we show our love. Right. That's how we be a man. So if a guy sees a woman that's very successful, got her, does everything on her own and doesn't need nobody, it's really, really hard for him to see himself. Okay, I see this woman. She's very attractive, very vibrant, party. I love her energy to partying, but she's taking care of herself, very strong, very independent. In their minds, like, how can I come in? Like, how can I come in? How can I be the man? How can I come in and be the man? Because obviously she's doing it on her own. And then for a lot of guys, like that kind of pushes them away. And I've had this conversation with my friends where like they'll see a lot of successful women. They'll meet this girl, I like her, but then she find out that she has a better job, or she makes more money, she has her own crib. And then for a lot of guys, dang, I love her, but damn, how can I be the man? How can I be the man in the relationship? So that's a conversation that's really, really hard. And for a lot of women, when I have this conversation with them, like I was telling, like I think for them, like, look, be yourself, but there is some kind of like making sure that live your life in a way that a man can come in and provide for you. So especially on social media,
right?
Okay, I often see a lot of women like they'll post. Look at the things they post, like, hey, I don't need, independence. I don't need this. I don't need this. And look, I'm all for that. But you have to understand what you're giving out also. Right. So for a lot of guys, when they go on the social media page, all they see is pictures of independence.
Right.
I can do things on my own.
Yeah.
I can do everything on my own. I don't need nobody. And that's the message you put on your profile. For a lot of guys, they see that, they're like, man, like, what? She doesn't need independent like that. She doesn't need me, or like, you know what I'm saying? So because people want, and you can relate to this, like every relationship, people want to feel wanted. Right. Like you want to feel that the other person like wants you. So I feel like that's one of the problems today, modern dating, where we're so independent. We're so independent to the point that we actually put ourselves in a bad position to attract the people we want.
Right.
Because especially if you're a very independent, strong person. Yeah. But I feel like that's, for a guy, that's very attractive. For a woman, for a guy to be very successful, very independent.
Right.
That's attractive for women.
Right.
But for women, it's opposite. That's not this. Because like what we're attracted to is not the same what you're attracted to.
Right.
And
that's totally true. That's totally true. Yes.
And that's one of the conversations I always have. A lot of women that are older and independent, and I always tell them, look, like, if you want somebody, you're ambitious, you're a go-getter, you do things on your own. But just understand that for most men, that's not the initial attraction.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny you say that, because a lot of guys there is guys that are still going to try, though, for sure.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's so funny because they always come into my DMs or like whatever, and they're like, yeah, I'm just shooting my shot. You know, they start with, I'm shooting my shot, or I don't even know how to talk to you, but I just want to say this. I hope I'm not rubbing you in the wrong way, or I hope I'm not disrespecting you, or like, you know, and then that kind of starts a conversation, you know? And those are the people that I actually respond to, like, hey, that's cool. Like, no, I'm not, whatever, you're fine, whatever. You know, those are the kind of people that I would want in my circle of friends or whatever it is, you know, to chat with or whatever, because they're coming from a point where like they're a little shy, but they want to talk and they want to be cool. They want to be friends. And I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? But I've always learned, well, because I worked in a bar too.
Yeah.
I put up with a lot of shit. I've heard every single pickup line there is to pick up. I've been called many of things. I've had numbers thrown at me. I've had meet me in after work. I've had a lot of that stuff, you know? And so I've developed like this thick skin of how to deal with it, you know? And sometimes I'm like, maybe it's too thick, you know? You know, but if I allowed all of that, you know, it can weigh on someone, you know, it can weigh on me, or then I would be looked at in a different angle. I would be judged as you know, from a different view, and I don't want that. So I do have a thick skin for that kind of stuff, and I do totally get what you're saying, because it is true. That's very true, right? They're looking at like, how do we even say hi to this woman? Like, she's fucking crazy, you know? But the guys that do, those are the guys that I respond to. It's like, hey, what's up? You know, how's your day today? Oh, hope you had a good day. Simple, you know?
Yeah. Well, so, and that's one of the, and that's, it's funny, like, I heard that before, from women, right? You know, because like, they'll say things like, well, guys are still in my DMs. So I'm like, I can do everything on my own. So I don't have any issue attracting anybody. And I always have to tell them, well, of course you're always going to attract anybody.
Right. Exactly.
But the key is like, you can attract somebody, but to keep a man, to have a man committed to you.
Right.
Then there had to be some kind of change within yourself. You know, because I'm sure there's a bunch of guys that always DMing you, but how many of those guys that actually have real intentions for you, and they want to commit to you, and they're gonna be loyal to you, and they won't cheat?
Exactly.
And for a guy that really wants to commit and be loyal to you, like, he has to come in and be that man, be that provider, and then like this, he'll fulfill his role, and you fulfill your role, and there's a balance. But I want to ask you, and I've asked this question to a lot of women too. Also, I'm really interested to hear your opinion, because you know you're very vibrant. You know, you have your own lifestyle. You handle your own. If there was a guy that came in and he could take care of you, right? He comes in, he could take care of you. He's the same age as you. He's vibrant. He's, you know, you guys can party, have fun, do all these things. He's loyal. He's committed to you. But the one thing he wants is just I guess what you post on social media, because I know for you, like you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So that's the only one thing he asks you to do, is he doesn't want you to go out there on social media no more, and be more conservative of the way you dress. Would you be down? Would you be okay with that? But he has everything. He takes care of you. He's loyal. He's the same age. He parties. He just like you. But the one thing he has, he's like, look, I just need you to be more conservative, because now you're my woman now. You know, I don't want, guys DM you because that's what you're putting out there. So would you be down with that?
So this is funny that you asked, because I thought about this, right? So I'm like, okay, I start dating this guy, just hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically. Yeah.
I found someone, things are great. I mean, I'm like, God, imagine how rich I would be if I only paid half of my bills and we shared half and half. Yeah. Anyway, so I think about it and I'm like, okay, when would I give up my social life? When would I give up my social media? When would I give up? Well, for one thing, I'm never gonna give up how I dress, because how I dress, I've been dressing like this since I was freaking 12. I have pictures of what I wore. Okay.
No, I got you.
So that's something that I'm not willing to give up. I mean, I will dress a little more respectful and conservative because I have a boyfriend. So, for example, for social media, I was dating someone last year. And I have two Instagram accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So I have one that's my personal, where I post my family, and then I have one where it's just me. It's just a platform of me and some of my friends. That Finding Mail one, where you found me at Finding Mail. And when I started that Finding Mail, it was public, and it was basically to just voice my opinion on certain things, kind of like this podcast, like just voice my opinion on certain things. And I left it public, but I was dating someone at the time. So the pictures that I would post were very me, but clothes, like just like half boob, like nothing, like, because I'm respectful to my boyfriend at the time, right? I'm like, it's disrespectful if I start showing ass and boobs and I'm with him. I'm his girlfriend. It's to me, it's disrespectful. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show parts of me, of who I am, through a different angle. Like I was saying, like I went from a different angle. And we were together for some time, and then I know him for, years and whatnot. But he never wanted to post me. He never posted that we were together.
Yeah.
And he had all these fans, all these girls. I called them his fans. He had all these girls, and they were commenting. Like mine, like if you look at Find the Mail 808,
yeah,
my post, they're gonna comment. The guys are gonna comment, and that's fine. And it's like, okay, it's cool. Like I'm happy, it's cool. But when you're dating someone and you see that shit, that's annoying, especially if they don't know that you have someone. The reason why I allow all that and I don't like whatever is because I don't have anyone. I'm single. I can have that. But he's having his post, and these girls are like, oh my God, and they're putting the heart eyes and the emojis and all this.
So he didn't post you? He didn't post you?
He never posted me.
But did you post him? Did you post him on that page?
I posted him. I never posted him on Finding Mail. Posted him on my other one.
Okay.
I never posted him because I wasn't really active on my Finding Mail. I wasn't like posting a lot on it.
Okay.
Because it was just like a little side platform thing. Like I literally had like 130 followers, and I had 30 posts for like months.
And then the other profile you posted him, did you post, okay, this is my boyfriend? Like, did you make it official, or was it just a pic?
He didn't want me to post that I was his boyfriend because of his ex, and we knew each other, whatever, this whole bit. But he was posted 3 times. But the picture is like I'm on his lap. So
I mean, I'm just today. That's to me. If I post a girl on my lap, it doesn't mean it. It doesn't mean anything.
It was just. And it said it. There was 3 pictures of us.
Yeah.
Didn't say much, but I told him, when you post me, then I'll post you. When you get rid of your fans, because once you post, like if I post with a guy right now and I'm like all in his arms, that's going to change the whole social media platform. Because now I have somebody. Some guys are going to be like, they don't give a shit. They're generally like me and my energy. Some guys are going to be like, okay, well, she has somebody. I'm not going to fucking follow her anymore. Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
But for him, he never posted anything about me. He would always go live, and all these girls would comment. As soon as I jump on the live, he would get off. And then I was just like, what does that make me then? You're at my house eating my food. I'm cooking for you. I'm waiting for you when you go out and do your thing. And you're over here not even letting the world know that I'm your girlfriend. Why?
Did you ask him?
I did.
And what did he say?
He said, why? He kept saying, like, why? He's like, you don't post me. And I was like, if you post me, I'll post you. I kept giving off that same vibe, and he never did. I waited for him because he was the one with the fans. Remember? Yeah. I only had 130 followers of like my family and friends. He's the one that had this whole like, I don't know, 1,500 fans that were like, I mean, and I'm saying fans because they were all like emoji and all this stuff, right? And he would go live and girls would talk, and then he would conversate back to them. Like, oh, do you think my legs look cute? And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, you're trying to make me look stupid? So when we split up, that's when I didn't give a shit about what I posted. I was like, now I'm going to be me. Now this is who the hell I am. I've been holding it back because I was with you. Now I can post who I am, what I'm about, and
Mhm.
and I can tell other women, don't accept that. Don't accept that this person doesn't want to show you off. Why not?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
So what I'm saying is, so if you meet a guy that, take care of you, everything, he'll post you too. Like, but he'll say, "Hey, this is my wife."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he tells you like, "Hey, the way you post on the other platform, you gotta take that down." Is that okay for you?
I think it's okay. I think that I would definitely not just be like done with it. Definitely tone down. Definitely post him. I mean, if he's gonna post me and he's gonna be all about it, then I have to be all about it too.
Yeah.
I lose followers. I lose friends. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in relationships for like a long million. You know what I mean? Like the 20 years I've been in long-term relationships. And if he's willing to do that and he's willing to respect me, then I'm gonna do the same. I still want to be me though, not half naked me, but me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah. Like you
I
said,
still want to be able to talk how I talk. I still want to be able to motivate. I still want to be able to be happy. I still want to be able to do that, but maybe just not so much boobs or not so much. You know what I mean? Just respectful of that. That's my boyfriend. And that's all I was asking for from him. I wasn't asking him to change. I was asking him to let people know that he's with someone. So the comments is different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's shitty that social media plays such a big role in relationships these days. It's such a shitty thing, but it is, and it does.
But did he ever ask you to like take your pictures down as far as like the ones that you show more of your body?
Couple of times he would just say something like, "Oh, why'd you post that?" But he never asked me to take it down. He would comment on it, but he never asked me to take it down. But he would be like, what? He still comments on it. Okay.
No, I was watching this one podcast, and it was pretty interesting. I gotta find it, but they were talking about how like IG models, IG models we've seen on IG. Mm-hmm. Most of them struggle to find a relationship or struggle to get married, which is for most people it's surprising. Like most people when they see IG models or models on social media, they think like, oh, they're always getting guys.
Exactly.
Right. And they were talking about it is like, how come IG models or any models you see on social media, especially all girls that they post, they're very open to what they, how they post their body. How come these girls are struggling to find guys, and only find guys, struggling to find a guy that will commit to him and marry him? And one thing they talked about was like, the love language of men. We're very, for men, when they find a woman they're very committed to and they want to put a ring on their finger, it's they're very territorial about that. The men are very territorial, especially when it comes to the woman. He wants to put a ring on her finger, and put a roof over her head. And that's one of the things we were talking about. How a lot of girls don't understand that, especially when you look like, of course, like you said, it's you're free to do anything you want to do. If you want to put yourself out there, how you post, how you show your body, hey, that's on you. But they were talking about, it's like, for trying to tell young women, understand that the way you put yourself out there, for a lot of men, like when they see that, of course they'll see that, oh, that's a woman I want to have sex with. I want to slide in DM. But the men that you're looking for to come in and commit to you,
is not that guy.
They're looking at you. They're like, in their mind, they're like, oh, that's actually sexy, it's a nice body, and I want to have sex with that woman.
Right.
But the thoughts of commitment in marriage will never perceive that. But then when they see other women that are more conservative and they're still beautiful, that's the woman they'll go and commit to and marry. So, and that was, when I have discussions, because I have friends too right now, like girls that they post their body, and they, we'll have conversation with them, and they'll tell me, hey, I'm beautiful, I'm posting my body out there. Like, how come like all the guys on the DMs always telling me, always want to have sex with me? No one wants to take me seriously. And I always say, look, you have to understand that guys, like, we're very territorial of for most guys, even me personally, like I wouldn't, if I choose to marry a woman and I choose to take care of her and take that responsibility, like I don't want to share my woman with another man. I don't want to share what I see, like the things that I don't want to share that with any other guy, know. And of course, I think guys like it, but based on my conversation with most guys, like they would rather have their girl just be conservative because they don't want to share her with every other guy out there on social media.
Yeah. No, and that makes that makes like so much sense. Because I don't want to share my guy either. You know what I mean? Like, I totally understand that. And I think if there's a mutual respect for that, when you're in a relationship, then it works. When you have the trust and that mutual respect for each other. But like for me, like I'm not really looking for commitment in that sense. So I don't really care right now, but eventually my post might change. I don't know, right now, I don't know. But like for me, I don't like that territorial possessive type. I like to do my thing,
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that it is going to be hard. And this is exactly what I said on my podcast last week. They said, oh, if someone is crushing on you, what advice do you have? And I said, you know what? The thing about it is like, this is why I might be single forever. I was dating this guy and my son is older, of course, right? So his friends are over and we drank together. Like I drink with my son's friends or whatever, right? And so one night he got really upset. And this is what kind of split us up is he got upset and he's like, they need to go home. And I was like, first of all, this is my house. You're not paying rent here. You can't tell me who my guest is, number one. Number two, are you like insinuating that I'm trying to sleep with them? Is that what this is about?
Yeah.
Because that's my son's friends. They call me mom. Because I'm out there drinking with them, that doesn't mean shit. And you to even think of me in that sense, like I would even do something like that. We don't belong together. Yeah. You should have more respect for me than knowing that I would never do something. That is my son's friends. Are you serious? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It's just because they're here late and you're trying to tell me like, oh, they got to leave, blah, blah. And then, that whole possessive, like, and then like, why are you wearing those shorts? I can see in your shorts. Yeah, but I'm not going to sit in front of everybody with my legs open with these shorts on. I'm sitting in front of you because we're sitting in the living room. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I don't know.
And these are coming from the male perspective, right? These are coming from the male perspective. I've been to my friend's house and where their mom was hot, right? Right? And then I'm speaking from your son's perspective, and of course, we respect her mom and call her mom. But when she left, the conversation that we had was like we wanted to have sex with the mom behind our friend's back.
That's crazy.
So I can understand why he felt that way. I'm just saying, they can call you mom, but like I say, you're still an attractive woman at the end of the day. So those kids are.
The thing about it is like I've known these kids from like when they were young. You know what I mean? And so whatever was going on in his mind, though, to come at me like that in my house, telling me they gotta leave, like it was just he came about it in the wrong way.
Yeah, do you understand? But do you understand why he felt that way? Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that he could have came at me differently. First of all, when he was sober, not when he was drunk.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I kind of feel uncomfortable. How can you make me feel more comfortable about the situation or something? Yeah. Not like, oh, they got to go home. They don't fucking live here. Wait, what? Like, no. You know what I mean?
I would ask you, okay. Give you an example. I'm going to give a different example. So if you have a daughter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If she went to her friend's house and she was drinking and then you saw that the dad was drinking with all the girls. Mm-hmm. I was drinking with them, just having fun with them. Would you be cool with that? Would you see that as weird or no?
Well,
the dad's single. He's not married. And your daughter goes to your friend's house. Her dad is single, and then you walk in and you see the dad's just like having fun with all these girls, and they're all drinking together.
Honestly, I think like in Hawaii, it's different. I don't know, because there's a lot of that goes on here, right? Because a lot of my friends have kids that are like my kids' age, and we drink all together, like whatever, you know what I mean? But it's not like all the time. It's just we live in the same house. Just because I guess I don't know. I mean, especially like in Hawaii, we drink with whoever was there, you know, at the time, whether it be a mom, a dad, or like whoever else, you know, it is what we do. It's more like a family, I guess. That's why that's how I was raised, right? Like, oh, if that's your son's friends, that's like your kids too. You know what I mean? And so it's more
Yeah.
of like a family sort of unit thing going on. Like my daughter has drank with people in that situation. I don't think anything weird about it because I feel like they're gonna treat my daughter like that's their daughter. I don't know. Maybe it's just the Hawaii thing. I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm just trying to see from both
Yeah, no,
sides.
I understand what you're saying because if you're looking
Yeah.
at it from the outside in, you're like, well,
Yeah, because it's
they're
for me,
fucking
it's
adults.
maybe in
Yeah,
Hawaii, maybe it's different in Hawaii, but
it's
like
a little
for
different.
me,
It's a little different
yeah,
because we all grew up like ohana, like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even cross my mind that I would try to hit on my son's friend. You know what I mean? Or they would try to hit on me because I was watching them at the park while they're, you know what I mean? Or I'm friends with their moms and dads. Like, it's just different. I don't know.
yeah. Okay, all right. I think for me, but I don't. I mean, I don't know this stuff. I'm just watching. I'm just observing. But I feel like your son probably heard his friend said something about you. You know, as like I feel like
No,
because
my son was really mad when I told him what happened. Right? Because my son wasn't there when it all transpired, right? It was just me and my ex in the room. He called me in the room and then he's like, they needed to leave, whatever. And then my son was really upset. He was like, why the fuck would he think that about my friends? Like, he was pissed.
yeah.
He's like, that is disgusting, number one. Like, no. You know? And it's like, for my son to say that, he was upset and he was like, I don't even want to hear the story. Like, I'm gonna go throw up right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I know. He just wasn't about it, you know?
Okay. So I guess one of the main questions that you were asking before, today, do you feel like today people are looking for commitment, are no longer looking for commitment no more? Do you think
I feel
that's
like there
the
is people that are. I feel like there is people that are looking for commitment, but I feel like there's a lot of people that are not, right? Because I always say this, I only need a man for one thing. I always say it, right? I need a man for one thing. We all know what the one thing is, right? So if you can get that without having all that other baggage, then why not? Right?
Mhm.
I feel like that's the pool of people. That's what the pool of people, just from people's like comments on social media or just like things that I watch. That's the whole ideology, right? Is to have like a perfect world of like, oh, we're just gonna meet up for sex because that's what I need out of you. We're just gonna
Mhm.
fuck once in a while, but I'm gonna do my thing, you're gonna do your thing, and that's
Mhm.
like a relationship we have, right?
Mhm.
Versus the, oh my god, I want to find this guy because I want to get married. I want to live with him. I don't ever hear that anymore. Like, I just want this guy that I can build my dream house with a picket fence, with the white dog. You know what I mean? Like, that
Yeah.
is so far, like, whatever, gone. And I feel like that's what makes it harder these days to date and harder to be in that committed. And I mean, like I said before, the music, the TV, like all this stuff. It's like, I love Cardi B, like I love her music and all, but some of that shit she talks, I'm like, damn, you know, like she's like, you know, this is it, boom. And that's that whole image. I mean, we're trying to get rid of Dr. Zeus and put up Cardi B and Megan. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, I support them. I love their music 100%. But that persona, I can decipher what is real and what is not because I'm older. But these young generation that's coming up, well, that's what it is. We're not going to read one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. We're going to look at wet ass pussy. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fucking what I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's totally different. Like, totally different from when I was growing up, listening to freaking Kool in the Gang and Michael Jackson,
Mhm.
and you know what I mean, and the Whitney Houstons, right? I mean, you can tell in the shift of everything is through what we see on our social lives, or what we see out in the world through music and television, and like, look at the movies that you used to watch. You know, you can name all your favorite movies. You can't find those kind of movies now. You music these days about pussy and ass and money and drug
Yeah,
dealing,
yeah.
right? And someone said this before. It used to be like about being the drug dealer, right? The music was like, yeah, I'm slanging here, I'm making. Now it's actually about the drug. Like I get high, you know what I mean? Like I'm popping pills, I get my beat California. I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like it's a totally different world that we're living in. So that changes relationships, that changes commitment, that changes what your ideology of a relationship is, or what we feel commitment is. Maybe we feel like having a fuckboy is a commitment, you know? I mean, not me personally, but I'm just saying, like the younger generations that are coming up, they see all this stuff, and I mean the word fuckboy, I never heard that word when I was young.
Yeah.
You know, or oh, she's a hoe. Well, I never heard that word either. There was other words for it, but it was different. It was different time period. And I believe over time, all those values get lost. For example, you're never gonna find relationships like your grandma and grandpa anymore. Never. You think about it, if you think about your
You don't think
grandparents.
so? You don't think so?
I think the older generation might, like I might find that now because I know it, but I feel like the younger generations, like maybe if they're in their teens as they're growing up now, like I want to start like at 15. That shit is obsolete. The whole grandparent thing, when grandpa used to work, grandma used to stay home. First of all, we don't got that anymore. A woman has to work basically, right? Mm-hmm. And the whole like grandma putting it down, making a meal for grandpa. Some of these women be like, cook your own damn food, right? That whole like love, like my grandparents, they passed on, my great grandparents, but they were married for over 50 years. Divorce wasn't even a word in their vocabulary, and they had 7 kids. How the hell did they make it with 7 kids, It's a different time period. It's a different vibe. It's a different energy in this day and age. And so I feel like it's hard. Like you think about your grandparents and the struggles that they went through, but their commitment to their relationship was like 150%. 150%. Like there.
I feel like it's really tough to compare our relationships, what our parents went through than ours, because I feel like it's easy. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. I feel like it's, when you're not distracted by certain things, like, our parents didn't grow up with social media.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just saying is I've seen a lot of old parents that were married for 20, 30 years, but if they had social media and people were hitting the DMs, would they still be, would they?
Different. Yeah, totally different.
There's an old saying, you're only as faithful as your options. So
exactly. And the thing about it is, like, you don't even need to give your number to anyone anymore. You're reachable by so many different platforms.
Yeah,
you're reachable. You can slide in DMs. You can slide into Messenger. You can find me anywhere, right? I don't have to give you my telephone number for you to contact me anymore, right?
Because when your parents go through an argument, they go through the argument, but they figure it out themselves. But nowadays, when girls go through an argument with their husband, now that they see DMs from guys, hey, everything's okay.
You get that attention that you were looking for, or whatever.
And then that's another temptation right there that our parents didn't go through. That every time that we hit rock bottom, there wasn't a guy out there, there wasn't a girl out there that just pretended like, hey,
easy. Yeah. I mean, and it's like when they get into argument, they would get in their car and drive off. Now you get into argument, you go on your phone, you turn from each other on the side of the bed and you go on your phone.
And there's 10 guys in the DMs.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, everything okay?
Or that guy that's trying to hit you up, but you're not trying to hit him up. And then now you're in an argument, you're like, okay, well, this nigga wanna act up, boom, I'm gonna be, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna go get the emotional support from another guy.
Exactly.
So I do believe everybody. This is what I believe. I believe at the end of the day, we all want commitment. We all want commitment, right?
That is true.
Nobody wants to die old. I know that for a fact. Nobody wants to die old, right? I feel like number one, a lot of people going through issues. People have so many issues they have to figure out themselves. Like you mentioned, if you don't know how to love yourself, you wouldn't know how to be able to love another person. Also know what healthy love is, right? So there's a lot of issues with that. But I feel like is also with the new generation today is like back in the day when our parents grew up, like people were looking to get married early,
Right.
and then figure out their life
Yeah.
together. But
Mhm.
now the narrative has changed in today's culture. Like they're telling us, hey, forget getting married, figure out your life, build your life by yourself, and then get married later.
Yeah.
And then get married, have your best life, have sex,
Yeah.
have fun, do what
Party up.
get
Yeah.
party up, do all your fantasies that you want to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
And after that, get married and then get married later, right?
Yeah.
And I think the problem with a lot of people today is they're trying to find commitment doing those things.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, and this is what I would say, like, you can't live
Your
a
best
bachelor
life.
life. You can't live a bachelor life and expect
Exactly.
to attract somebody to marry you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go both ways. You have to commit to one.
You have to commit to one or the other.
Well, yeah. So if you want to be married, you have to act in a way where you could be attractive to people that are looking for marriage.
Right.
Right. If you want to be a bachelor, then be a bachelor. Be a bachelor, live that life. But then when you're ready, then you have to stop that and then move in. But I feel like today is like people are trying to live their best life, but at the same time they're trying to find commitment through that, which is
that's exactly 150%.
Yeah.
But that's why I tell people straight off the bat too. Like with me, I'm just trying to live my best life. I'm not looking for commitment. I'm not looking
that's
for
fine.
that.
Yeah.
But you can't expect that. Like somebody commented on my something and said, "Oh, you put yourself out there. You're never going to be a girlfriend. You're never going to be a wife because of what you post." And I responded. I said, "Well, first of all, you don't know me. I ain't trying to be a wife. I ain't trying to be a girlfriend. I'm trying to be me. I'm trying to live my best life. I don't give a shit about what I post."
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if my whole ideology changes, because now I'm like, my clock is ticking, my gray hairs are showing, like I'm not gonna be able to walk soon. I gained 50 pounds. Like, if I'm feeling all this type of way, then it'll change. I will be the same person, but my postings will change. I can delete all that shit. All posts can be deleted. I can delete all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And your real genuine followers or your real people that are really about your energy are still gonna follow you. They're still gonna be your friends, or whatever. But yeah, you can't live your best life and then expect to drag along somebody to be committed with you. You cannot.
Yeah.
You can't.
Because the people that are looking for commitment, they're not looking for the best life. They're looking for somebody to build something, like, and I'm not saying that commitment's not gonna be, you can still be happy, but it's really, really hard for somebody that is looking for a committed relationship, but they're seeing you like going all around the world. But I feel like that's the problem today is people think that they can live their best life and still be able to attract that one person that's going to come in and take care of them and fully commit to them.
Well, and that's another thing too, like how you were saying, like the times have changed about getting married first. Now it's like get married later. It's the same thing with like buying a home. A lot of these people are like, don't buy a home, travel the world, use your money and travel, live in a little box and travel the world. It's a lot of that shit has changed. The ideology of like there's no correct way, of course, but definitely there's a lot of changes that have gone on over the time of the picket fence house.
And also, I want to ask you this. I want to get your thoughts on this. I also feel like because of the way our generation and the culture is nowadays, like you mentioned before, we live our best life, we get married later. I feel like that benefit for the guys, it doesn't really have any impact because for guys, they can always marry younger girls because that's like the norm in society. I feel like it hurts a lot of women and makes it harder for them because when women you get older, most guys your own age are dating younger. They want younger,
right?
I'm sure there's two guys that you're gonna find your own age, but most guys you meet, they're always dating younger. So and also like for when you live your best life and having I feel like for going out to have sex with all these types of people. And I know a lot of girls like this, like, and I don't care what you do, like, have fun. Yeah. I'm just saying I've seen girls that live their best life, have sex with all these guys, and then later on when they're ready, like, 30 or 35, okay, I'm done. I live my best life. I'm ready to settle down now. They're looking around like, how come guys are not coming to me? I was like, well,
because you slept with all my friends.
Exactly. So, and this is what's difficult, like for women, like they don't really care if a guy sleeps with multiple women. Once he commits to you,
for women it's a total different view.
Yeah, but for men, we don't see it that way. Yeah. Like if we know you slept with all my friends,
you're a hoe. Yeah,
you're a hoe. Like it doesn't we're not like you where we can for you guys, it doesn't matter. If the guy loves you, put water for your hair. You don't care if you slept with all your friends.
Yeah,
as long as
exactly.
he's committed to you, as long as he's faithful to you, you're good. You take it. For guys, we're not the same.
Yeah,
and
it's totally different.
And I have to experience a lot of girls. Like, how come? Like, I was like, well, you slept with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, you made that choice. Hey, you lived your best life.
Yeah. Now you can't go back and erase all that best life that you had. Yeah. Your numbers went up,
Yeah, so it's like, how come? It's like you have to say, I have to explain to them, like we see things different. So so like I said, it's like, look, if you want to attract a guy that's want to commit to your relationship, you have to be aware of what you're doing. So, and also for a lot of,
you have to own it and take responsibility for it too. It's like a lot of guys are in my DMs like, oh, send me a nude or send me this, send me that. And I'm just like, first of all, I have more self-respect for myself than that. I'm not going to send you a nude. I mean, unless we're a thing. Even at that, I always think, this is how I always think about it. This post is going to go viral. Anytime I post anything, doesn't matter what it is, I always think this is going to go viral. I put that in my mind, knowing that this could be somewhere, anywhere, before I post it. Or before I send it to somebody, right? Like if you're like, oh, send me a nude. I send it to you, we get into a fight, and now it's all over the World Wide Web. No. Like that's how I think of like my postings and stuff too. And you have to own it. Like I said, like you said, it's like, yeah, you're looking like a whole, like you're not gonna find somebody committed. You slept with Tom, Dick, Harry, Sam, Michael, like you know what I mean? And yeah, right. For guys, it doesn't even matter. Like your count can be like 1,000 million, and girls are just like, oh wow, he did what he did, But for girls, it's a different story.
Yeah. And then for a lot of, and that's a really hard truth. I see a lot of girls can't accept of like, how come it's a double standard? It's a double standard, right? And I tell them like it's life. I can't, there's nothing. This is how how men see things and women see things. It sucks there is a double standard, but that's just how life is. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people are like not trying to accept that reality.
Yeah, they're not. And the thing about it too is like there's a big difference between men and women, huge difference in that realm, And it's just like when guys are like, oh, send me a nude, I'm like, no, I have more self-respect for myself. And then I say, like, one day I'm gonna get married. I mean, I'm in my mind. Why would I want you to have a picture of my vagina?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, think about it. Like, why would I want you to have a picture of my vagina when I'm marrying this man and now maybe you're not going to know him, but you still have a picture of my vagina in your phone. Yeah. Like, that's fucking stupid to me. So, I mean, that's exactly why I don't freaking do nudes. And people want to pay for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Guys are willing to pay for anything, and they're going to keep hitting me up and they're keep going to get the same answer. Because like you said, I have to own the responsibility for what the hell I'm putting out there. Yeah, yeah. And that's what I want to own. I want to own that nobody has a picture of my vagina.
Yeah. and this also I tell a lot of guys and girls too, like we have to understand also because of social media, we have more options now. So if you're a guy, if you're a girl that sends all your news into all these guys and you have multiple sex partners, but like I always tell them, why would a guy commit to that?
I know.
When there's another girl that can probably give him the same affection and commitment that you can, but she doesn't come with that baggage.
But she doesn't. Her vagina is not over the internet, or her boobs, or whatever it is.
Yeah. So I always have to explain that you have to understand that there are other options there. So like, why would people, as people, like we talk about comfort, like why do we were talking about comfort before, women staying in those relationships, like we want the easiest path. We don't want to deal with.
That's the least resistance.
The path of least resistance. Yeah, most people, we always take the thing that's most comfortable and it's easier.
Yes.
So if you have two guys, and like you said, the same thing with I hear from a lot of guys, like all girls, like all they care about is money, and I have to explain to them, because for women, like it matters for them to have a man that can protect and provide for them.
Exactly.
Because when they get pregnant and have a kid, who's gonna be able to work? You. Right.
Exactly.
Wait. I was buffering a little there.
Oh.
So I hear, I often hear, I'm a friend or hear some guys like, like women, all they care about is like what a man can, his job, his career, how much money he has. I'm like, but that's real life. Real life. That's real reality. Life. If we have to pay for rent, we have to pay for food, we have the money to take care of kids. and then she's gonna get pregnant. And then who's gonna work when she's pregnant? You.
Yeah.
So for a lot of women, that's important to them. So like, I don't, like I said, like if so you can, if you're broke and you don't have a house or you don't have a job and you're wondering why you're not attracting the woman you want, because get your ass and go to work.
Get your ass off the couch.
Yeah, and go to work.
Go look for a job.
Yeah, and all you post, and also this, and all you post on your social media is just smoking, playing video games.
I know.
You're drinking, you're doing nothing productive for your life. You have no purpose for your life.
Productive. Exactly.
But you complain about why all these girls, they're complaining why girls are not attracted to you, or no girl wants to like marry you.
Get
That's
the hint. Get the hint.
Right?
Oh, and it's true. It is so true. Like it's
right?
beyond.
It goes both ways. Like it goes both ways. It goes
both ways, and you have to be able to take responsibility for what you're putting out there. You have to be able to understand why things are the way they are in your life because you chose. Like at the beginning of this, we talked about choices, right?
Yeah, choices. Yeah.
It's the same thing. You can choose to label yourself. You can choose to unlabel yourself. You can choose to post this. You can choose to not post it.
Yeah, you can choose to send news. You can choose not to send news.
It's totally insane. And it's just like, even for me, it's like the whole dick pic thing is just, I talk about it all the time because it's just so irritating, and in the beginning of like my social media, like life, it's like, oh, there's a picture. I click on it. I'm like, what the fuck? So now I don't even open anytime anybody sends me any picture that you can't see. I don't open it. I don't care if it's the moon, the sun, or the stars. I don't open it. Then if it's like Snapchat, I don't do Snapchat. I do Snapchat with my kids to show little clips. I don't want Snapchat. I put my Snapchat out there. That's all I got was disappearing dicks. I don't want that. Okay. And people wonder why I talk so much about it. It's like, okay, because one day I don't want to have a husband that literally 20 million girls have the picture of their dick. Okay. That is just disgusting.
Exactly.
Like your penis is on everyone's phone because you're shooting it out in DMs like it's candy.
Exactly. Gross. And the same thing for girls too, right? Girls too. Like we don't want guys, like they don't want, if you're putting yourself out there, right? Then like guys don't want they want their woman is sacred to them. They don't want every guy to know what kind of breast she looks like, what her vagina looks like.
Exactly.
Like I wouldn't look, even me come like I'll be very uncomfortable if I'm going into an event or party and I know like half these guys know what my girl's vagina looks like.
And that's my point. You know what? Yeah. Especially in Hawaii. You put yourself out there, you're talking to all these guys that live in Hawaii, and you freaking walk up, and you know what? It's I'm telling you, it happens. I was in Vegas, and I had a bunch of DMs from different people, like, hey, I just seen you at the Fremont. Hey, and I was like, oh, how come you didn't say hi? Because they follow me or like whatever. It's like, oh, I don't know. You just seem like, I don't know. I didn't want to bother you. They don't want me to snap. And I was like, well, if you approach me though, like I'm the coolest chick. Like you want to hang out and you want to talk to me, take a picture, whatever. I'm cool. You come at me disrespectful, then you get a different me, And so I'm like, whatever. But I'm thinking to myself, imagine if I did send out these kind of nudes, and now I'm walking in Vegas and 3 of these guys are going to have a picture of my vagina. That is just strange. That is just strange to me. Or I'm with a guy and he's done this. And pics everywhere. And then it's like I walk into somewhere and all these girls,
just approach him and to talk to him like they're too close. They're too close to him. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? It just kind of happened to me because I commented on something. A whole bunch of girls asked me, like, how do you know him? How do you know him? And I was like, oh, he sent me a dick pic. Oh, he found me on Twitter. He this and that. And it's just like, I don't want to be with somebody like that. I don't want to be with someone that other girls have to tell me about them. Like, oh, I seen a picture of, I seen his this. And, oh, we were supposed to meet up for, we're on Tinder and we were supposed to meet up, but we never did. And I'm just like, looking gross. Like, I don't want to marry somebody that was meeting somebody on Tinder. I mean, no judgment on Tinder. Like, I'm not judging people. I'm just saying for me, like, I don't want to find someone that everyone else had in that sense, or has a picture of them on their phone. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Or they did a meetup one time. Then it's awkward because, like, how can we be friends?
Yeah.
How can we be friends now? Because you slept with the same person as me? It's but I'm telling you, in Hawaii, it's super hard. Super, super hard. We live on an island.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm about to date somebody out of the state at this point. I'm telling you, it's that. First of all, you got to find out if you're related, right?
Yeah.
Who are you related to? Who's your ex? Like, I mean, there's so much things you have to go through dating in Hawaii because you don't want to be like, oh my God. And this is the thing, like, because I've always been social, I meet a lot of people and they're like, if you ask somebody like, oh, do you know who's man from boom? A lot of people know me just because of my life and how I'm social and I get involved in so many things. And then these guys will come back like, oh my God, you know a lot of people. I said, yeah, fuck with me. I have eyes everywhere. You know, like I just know a lot of people. Hawaii is a small place. This island, each island has its own like community. Oahu is small. Like I know people, and things will always get back. You can't be doing shit. You know, like you're sliding in this girl's DM. You don't know she's my friend from like 20 years ago. I go to dinner with her. She shows me her phone, and you're all in her DMs. Boom.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I know people like you can't do that shit to me. Like it gets around, and that's why I like to keep my reputation clean too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I don't want people to be around like, oh yeah, you know the 5-minute chick. Oh yeah, I banged her. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't want that reputation either. I don't. So you know, I tread lightly around those things.
So I guess what's like the safest way to meet people or in Hawaii, in your opinion?
I think the safest way is through people. Yeah. Like, oh, so-and-so single now. Oh, really? Like, what's the story? You want a little bit of a background. What's the story? How many baby mamas do you have? Oh, okay. Where does he live now? Wow, he's going through a divorce. Oh, but that's what I'm saying. I got to get out of Hawaii. I mean, seriously. And the dating pool is very, very small, you know, and it's just so easy to make a reputation for yourself here. You know, it's so easy to fall into traps of like traps, you know, like, oh my God, I didn't even know this about him. I wish I knew. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You know, or I mean, this is literally why I don't go on dates. I seriously do not go on dates because I feel like, first of all, I don't know what this person is about. I gotta be talking to somebody for a while to get a little bit more information before I actually know. Like I gotta skip to another island. Because it's scary because you could be related. Yeah. You know, you could be friends with their ex's ex or like whatever it is. I mean, and this is how Hawaii is. We go to the bar. Oh, you know, so-and-so seen now. Oh, who? So-and-so. Okay, show me the picture. Oh, shit. That's so-and-so's. Oh, my God. I heard she's a hoe. Simple. You know? I mean, that's what life is like in Hawaii. You know, it's like, you know, they always make jokes of like when you meet somebody, oh, where are you grad? And then they find out. When you're in the mainland, you don't got that. Yeah. Barely ever are you going to find. So you're in LA, right? Say you lived in Wisconsin. Yeah. Okay. Now you're living in Wisconsin. I'm almost pretty positive you're never going to find a classmate that you went to high school with in Wisconsin. No. You barely find them. Say you grew. I don't know where you grew up, but say you grew up in LA. You may not even ever see any of your classmates in LA. No, you won't. Yeah, it's too big. It's too big. I go to the grocery store and I see 10 classmates. I haven't seen a classmate in like the last 15 years. That's what I'm saying. I went to the bar last night. I saw a classmate. I go to the grocery store. I see 3 classmates. It's a small island, you know. It's a small island. You got to have that good reputation over here. Oh man. It's for real. This is for real life stuff. I'm like, I think I was in Vegas and then somebody met somebody and they're like, oh my God, they're classmates. And I was like, wow. And they said, yeah, you never get that. You never get like in the mainland, you never get like, oh, I went to school with that person that lives in the same area. You know, it's like, wait, what? How is that even possible? That's why Hawaii people get gathered together, right? In Arizona, there's a group of Hawaii people. In Oregon, there's a group of Hawaii people. They don't really know each other, but they're all from Hawaii, so they get to know each other. It's because we're so used to having that community of togetherness, you know, like at the grocery store and whatnot. You got to go far away if you don't want any of that. See, everybody that's from Hawaii, stay strong, man. Stay strong. For real. Stay strong. Hey, I do want to ask you. I know that this is a topic that I have heard a lot in today's relationship is about, you know, when it comes to cheating,
when it comes to cheating. So, for now, I've seen a lot of people, they kind of, they cheating. I feel like today cheating has like become a normal thing that's expected out of the relationship. Like, I know a lot of friends that when somebody cheats or somebody, I think it goes both ways, because I've seen a lot of guys, their girlfriend cheats and they'll stay.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me, because for me, like, if I'm out with somebody, you're with me, I'm not gonna play that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But today when I ask you, like, why do you feel like today? But it's funny. I thought at first it was just the younger. I thought it was just usually the younger people that do this. But I've realized now, I've met some older people, and they do it too. They'll accept cheating as well. I've seen women and men in the 30s, going into their 40s, these to accept that. Even in today. But of course, there's so many conversations like, what is cheating? People say, cheating is just sexual, but then some people say cheating is emotional. Cheating is based on what you do on social media. I want to ask you first, I want to get your definition. Like, what is cheating to you, and what's acceptable, what's not acceptable to you?
Cheating to me is not only physical, it's mental, it's emotional. If I'm not doing it for you mentally or emotionally, I'm not talking just sex, okay?
Yeah.
Because I believe I have a healthy sex life when I'm in a relationship. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I like to have sex, so what? But what I'm saying is, like, mentally and emotionally, if you're not feeling me, if I'm not fulfilling you 100%, that you gotta now go DM some girl to tell them something, then why are you with me? So, like I say, my package is good. Like, I come with all these things, and mentally and emotionally, I believe that I'm 100% prepared to be in a relationship. I've been in a relationship I'm not like a teenager where I don't know what I want, right? I know what I want, and I know what I like, and I know what I need. But if you don't know that about yourself, and you're still trying to live a teenage life by DMing other people because you need that attention or you need that reply, what is it going to lead to? What is it going to lead to? It's going to get you to the point of maybe meeting up. It's going to get you to the point of, like, what is it that you need what is it that you're lacking, that you need that attention from someone else? Because I'm giving you my 100%. I'm here waiting at home, cooking, cleaning. I'm doing the girlfriend role. Like, I'm doing the wifey role. I'm doing all of that. And you're out there wanting that from someone else, or you're just trying to fuck? Because if you just wanted to fuck, you could have fucked me.
Yeah.
I mean, and it ain't bad, trust me, I know. But I'm just saying, like, like, I'm just saying, and I think for a lot of women, when that happens, okay, so when it happens physically, when now this guy's like cheating, she's looking at herself like, I'm fat. He doesn't want to do it with me. They make it about them. They don't make it about themselves, about that person. It's his problem. It's him. He's the problem, not you. But they stay in these cheating relationships because they think that it's them. Like, oh, maybe I didn't do he doesn't want me because I'm not good enough. They make it about them, like they're not good enough, and that's why they're cheating. No, the cheating is because he or her, I'm going to say her too, because it happens both ways. He or her is lacking something in their own shit that they're trying to get from someone else because they need it. Like, they need that attention, or they need, no matter how much attention you give them, no matter how good you are in bed, no matter how much you provide, it's them. They're the one. So if they want that, then they need to go. And you need to know that you are enough, and you were enough that whole time. It's just something in them. And I feel a lot of it is just attention. I feel like a lot of the whole cheating thing is to see what you can get. See this girl's hot. Let me see if I can get her. Or this girl's cute. Let me see what I can get. But they don't want that. They just want to cheat on it because they want to sample that. Right? But they still want you to be all those other things that you are. The wife. They want somebody that's going to pay the bills, like write the checks. They want somebody that's going to take the kids to school if you have kids. They want somebody that's going to be that wife role. yet they want that nastiness on the side of what I can get. And that bachelor still trying to live his best life, or that hoe still trying to live her best life. Like, I can get this guy anytime, you know? So this guy wants to act up, I can go and do that. But for me, the cheating can be all of that. And even if the intent of, like, and I'm not saying my boyfriend is like saying, like, going in some girl's DM and like liking their picture, or liking their, you know, their comment, oh, you look cute today, whatever. I'm talking about like, oh, you're looking delicious. I'm talking about you're taking it to the next level of a friendship. Because, you know, I know too, especially like when I'm like commenting on my guy friend stuff, if they're married or whatever, I joke around with them to the extent that there's a borderline between joking and respect for the other half. Right? Because I know I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. But a lot of my guy friends, like their wives, they know me. They know it's I'm just joking. You know, like, I'm just like saying something like whatever, but I don't draw the line, right? So the same goes for me. Like if my boyfriend is like going over the line, because I know he's a jokester and he's funny, and I know he's like gonna say these comments, but if he's going over the line, like, oh, you know, that's a whole lot of ass today, or something like that, it's like, oh wait, you took it over the next level. You know, like there's certain ways of like saying things that make it different. And if you're gonna talk like that, or you're gonna DM, especially DMs, because they're hidden. To me, comments are like whatever, right? But hidden, now nobody is seeing what you're saying. The intent is to be secretive. The intent is to get her attention or his attention without anybody else seeing that you're trying to get that attention, because it's a secretive thing. So I kind of hate DMs, actually. I really do. I mean, for relationships, because you can hide so much. You can delete, you can make it vanish now. I was like, wow, you can make that shit disappear.
You can delete it. You can delete it. Yeah.
You can delete it completely. And it's not like your phone record where, you know, when you're texting and you're calling, oh, whose number is this? Whose number is that? Because, you know, oftentimes it's the woman that's paying the bill, so she can pull it up and see who you're calling. Yeah. But if you're just messaging, there's no trace of it. If you're just DMing on Instagram, there's no trace of it, you know?
No, and I see that a lot with a lot of people nowadays. Like you say, just now it's become an acceptable norm now. And
it's not acceptable. To me, it's not acceptable, because at the end of the day, you're in a relationship. You committed to it, you know?
Yeah, this is also something I do hear from a lot of women, and I want to get your thoughts on this. If the guy is like, I guess, high value enough, do you feel like that? I've heard a lot of women say like they can tolerate cheating.
I know. Trust me, I hear it all the time. Nobody is worth the value. I'm sorry. In my opinion, nobody is, because you know what? It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful, especially if other people see them. You know, I just had this incident with a friend, and somebody saw the husband with somebody else, blah, 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 blah. For me, you can stay in that relationship all you want. I don't care, because that's not my husband. But what I'm bringing to the table is you're being disrespected. How dumb are you looking when other people are seeing your husband with someone else? That's disrespect. You're lowering your standards of your worth and who the hell you are. That ain't worth it for me. That ain't worth it for me. You think I'm gonna be like chilling at home and my boyfriend and my husband is out like, I'm just gonna lay on my back and let it happen? Oh hell no, I'm not. You know, so even for me, like a little DM, I'm done. Like, nope, because you're with me. We're together. And I know that I know how to cut it off. I know how to stop it. I don't know that he does, right? Like I said, I worked in a bar for 20 years. I know when we're joking, and I know now when you've crossed the line. You know, and when I worked at the bar, everybody knew I had a boyfriend. I brought him there all the time. Guys still love me. Guys still would talk shit when he's not there. You know what I mean? But they still knew that I wasn't going to jump into their bed, because that's what I gave off. It's like, no. Or meet me after here. Or do this, do that. No, you already know I have a boyfriend. You know, what are you doing? Like, no, I'm not going to do that. I have a boyfriend waiting for me at home. No.
And that's what they're also seeing a lot lately. What I've seen is like a lot of women are like if they talk to guys that are married, if they talk to guys that are married, they somehow believe that if the guy leaves his wife for them, that
ain't never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. They're gonna say it over and over again. Like, I'm gonna leave my wife. It takes a lot for a man to leave his wife.
Yeah.
And I think it goes both ways. I don't know any women that are in a situation, but I do know a lot of men that are in that situation where they have a girlfriend and they have a wife. The girlfriend is willing to tolerate and be the side bitch, which I ain't never gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm just not. That's not acceptable to me. But I don't judge. Mm-hmm. These are my friends. I love them. You know.
Yeah.
And that to each his own. To each his own. But they're in a shitty marriage. The husband is in a shitty marriage, but we own half the house together. It's sticky. They're so sticky because it's so long, right? The kids, I'm not going to be able to see my kids. We're not going to be able to resolve our debt. There's all these excuses of why they stay, but they're unhappy. If you're unhappy, divorce. I don't give a shit how sticky it is. You can go through divorce for 10 years, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, when someone loves you, they're going to love you, period. You and only you. And for the wife to tolerate it is more fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, why? You know that there's another woman and you're okay with that? Bitch, take them to the bank, move along, boom, gone.
I want to ask you, when is for you, when is when is it okay for a man or woman to date somebody? Say if a guy is still in a separation, if a guy is because some women they'll say, okay, if it, in the separation it's cool, or guys too, or do you, if a guy is already married, he has to be divorced once the papers are final, then you'll be able to talk to him?
I think you would have to be that, because you know what, separation means that there's a chance. Separation to me means there's a chance, because if you're not fucking to get a divorce, then why are you separated? Because there's a chance. Or divorce is like final, you know. And for me, I don't even know if I would want to be with someone right now that's going through divorce, because it comes with a lot of emotions. Yeah, I basically went through divorce. I wasn't married, but 20 years of my life. Mostly. I mean, honestly, I'm still going through it because we have a son. You know, we're still going through a lot of like court stuff. You know, but I'm gonna do it because I want that to be final. I want it to be a final cut, right? I cannot be getting in a relationship, but my divorce papers aren't signed yet. But I love you, but I got it. She doesn't want to sign the papers, you know? And it's like, you know, it comes with a lot of emotions, and you don't know if they're trying to be with you because they're in love with you, or they're looking for the next comfort. They're looking for the next, right? You need time to heal when you're going through something like that. When you're going through divorce or a long-term breakup, you need to give yourself a chance to heal, right? And I mentioned this before. You need to give your chance to heal so that you don't bring that burden or whatever that is onto the next person. Mm-hmm. So I personally wouldn't want to date anybody that's going through divorce. If they're divorced like a year or two, maybe. Because like I said, at my age, that's what it's going to be. But if you're going through it right now, I don't want to be that crying shoulder. Like I'll be a friend. Like I've been friends to a lot of guys that I've helped them do their divorce papers, period. You know, but I'm not willing to be that comfort. And then when they get out of it, when they finally are like, blah, okay, boom, they dump you because now they wasn't into you. They just needed that pillow, that security blanket while they were going through it.
Okay. All right. I mean, this question is really funny. I'm going to ask you. Have you heard of the word simp?
Yes.
You know what that means?
I mean, yes and no. It's always on my freaking, people put that shit on my TikToks all the time.
What's your what do you think it means?
I mean, I don't really know. Like there's all these terms that come up and I'm just like, I have to ask my niece, right? Like,
okay.
So like, for example, OnlyFans, right? So my niece is like, somebody put, oh, do you have an OnlyFans? And I'm like, yeah, I have OnlyFans. Because I thought it was OnlyFans. I didn't know it was an application.
Yeah,
So I asked my niece, and she's like, oh my God, Auntie, that's like porn. Oh my God, that's the da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, I don't even know. But when you're in this realm of like TikTok, Instagram, you got to know what this shit means.
Yeah.
So the whole simp thing, I'm like, I'm not really certain what it means. I was trying to find a word that's similar to it that we used to use back in the day.
Yeah.
I can't find a word that is similar to what its meaning is really. You know what I mean?
Well, a simp means it's a guy that submits to it's some overly submissive to his woman. That's what simp is. Like overly submissive.
Right. But like, I tried to find a word that it's what I mean, there's no such word like that can compare to, you know what I mean? You know, like how you say like, oh, whore turned into hoe.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, got you.
I was trying to find a word of like to like equate it to, because I think simp is such a stupid word. Like,
so so like a simp would just be a guy that lets that the girl, oh, what's the this word, like I guess worship, like he doesn't have boundaries, like whatever the girl says he goes
that he's gonna do, right.
Yeah right. So I want to ask you, are you what do you prefer? Do you prefer simps? Or do you prefer a guy that's very dominant? Dominant.
So my ex told me that oh, you didn't let me be a man, blah 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 blah. He would always say that to me.
Oh, so he was a simp.
Well, he thinks he was, but for me, no, because this is how I think. For me, if you're gonna be the man, then you're gonna be the fucking man.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the man. You're gonna. I'm not gonna work 3 jobs while you're working 1.
Yeah.
Like, I was working 3 jobs, fool. You was working 1. Like, okay, I don't expect you to kiss my ass because I make more money than you, but I also don't expect to do all the chores, do everything, do all this shit while you're working in 1 job and you sleeping all the goddamn time. Mm-hmm. No. So if you think that you're a simp, that's on you. Yeah. You're asking me to go get another job so your woman is not working and not having a day off for 2 months. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So there's certain times when I like dominant things.
No, I want to ask you. So if you wanted to marry a guy, right? We don't talk about dating. We're talking about marriage. Like, just a guy you're gonna marry. Do you prefer a simp, the guy that's just like,
no?
Yeah. Or do you prefer a guy that's dominant? Like, hey, he's like the leader. This is a partnership between me and you, but he's gonna be like the leader of the relationship. He's gonna lead, and then you guys will,
I wouldn't say that I want somebody that's actually gonna take the lead role, because I like to be the lead.
Then he would be the simp.
I'm not very submissive, honestly. I'm not submissive I'm not even submissive at work. Like, I'm just not a submissive person.
Do you believe you would submit to the right guy?
I think I would. Yeah. I mean, I think I would, in the sense of like, I mean, I've done it. Like, so what I call it, what me and my friends call it, is Mary Poppins. So Mary Poppins is a woman that's going to submit, do all this. It's just going to take the back seat and let someone take the lead, let the man take the lead, and you're just going to shut up and let them do what they want. They're going to do what they want. They're going to party with the boys. They're going to do all that, and you're just going to be at home knitting and crocheting. That's what I call Mary Poppins. Like, I'm not Mary Poppins. I'm not Mary Poppins. No. Yeah. I feel like it has to be very equal. It has to be an equal equation of dominancy when it's time and when it is and when it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, there's a pipe leak. I would expect that my man is gonna go. And
of course. Yeah.
Like, I'll be submissive in that. Like, that's when you need to be like, okay, I got it. Sit down. I got that. When it comes to finances, I expect it to be the same. Like, okay, we're sharing the rent. We're sharing this. We're sharing that. In the bedroom, I'll be submissive. Like, honestly,
yeah.
like, okay, well, you can take the role. I'm not going to be the person that's going to be like, I don't like to be the leader of that every time. Once in a while, but not all the time. Like, you're the man, you just play that role. Like, but then again, too, I also like the upper hand. Like, you're gonna plan dates.
Yeah.
I dated a guy. He was the best date guy ever. Like, I never planned a date. He planned every single date, and it was always a surprise. He'd be like, "Wear this, get in the car," and we go. It was amazing. I was in airplanes. I was at an NHL game. I was eating this. I was shooting gun. I was riding on a zip line. You know, it was amazing. I mean, I'm not saying like you have to spend all that money and do all that, but someone that's going to take the upper hand in the relationship, yeah, in some aspects, that's exactly what I want. Like, hey, get ready, put your clothes on, put her in a swimsuit, we're going to the beach. I get to the beach, boom, it's a picnic. I don't have to cook. I don't have to do anything. And not all the time. Not all the time.
Yeah.
You know, once in a while, you're going to take the upper hand and you're going to lead. Like, we're going to go on a date. Here's the dress you're going to wear. Get ready and be quiet. Oh, okay. You know, not be like, okay, we're going to go to dinner tonight. Dinner's at 6. Make sure you're home by 5. Like, I shouldn't have to say that every single day. If I'm going to work in a relationship, you need to work with me. You know, if I'm going to put in the time and effort, you need to put in the time and effort too. Because I've been in relationships where I'm putting in all the effort, you know, because I want to keep it alive. I want to keep it juicy. I want to keep it good. Like, what's the date night? You know, there's a concert in town. Go buy the damn tickets and then surprise me with it. You know, that's where I'm saying, like, as being like submissive, like, and then I can't grumble though, right? When he buys the concert tickets, I can't be like, well, shit, I don't even listen to that music. You know, that's what I need to be submissive and just be like, oh, that's so cute. Look, he went out of his way, he got me the tickets. Like, I'm gonna go, you know, or like, we're planning a trip. Okay, well, here's that. I plan all the itinerary, but you know, maybe once in a while you can, you know, maybe you can say like, this year we're gonna go here. Okay. So I think that when the right time comes along, I can be very submissive in certain things, in certain ways. But if I'm the one holding the bag and doing all the work, I can. How do I be submissive to you when you're not being the man?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of I feel like a lot of people are mixing up our roles now. But I feel like, yeah, I do see it for a lot of guys. I don't know if it goes to the movies or the romance. People are overly romanticizing love.
Yeah.
And you know, and I see a lot of guys like they complain about why girls won't treat them seriously, and they're overly simping.
Yeah.
And I believe that, you know, a man, like, you have to be a leader, you know, in the relationship, and you know, yeah, just be the man in the relationship. You know, a woman that can trust and rely on you. They can take care of you, protect you, provide for you, and you guys can work as a team. But he's gonna lead it, and then she's gonna follow, and then you guys, you know, are gonna treat each other with respect. But I just feel like for most girls I've seen, they always they prefer more. Most of the girls, I'm not saying all good, but most of the girls I've talked to, they prefer a guy to be the leader and be the man in a relationship. But
I mean, you have to be the man, and it's like you have to be the co-star of the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to be like, oh, so that, and a lot of it for girls too is like, oh, what is your man do? Oh, you know what? He works here. He's doing that. You know what I mean? Girls talk shit all.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's sad, but this was my life for a long time. It's like I go into with my girls, and they're like, oh, well, we didn't do anything. He kind of just slept this weekend. He was tired. And she's over there like, oh, well, we went to 604. And you're like, oh, wow. Like, I wish I could have that life. You know what I mean? It's you want to be able to chit chat with your girls and be proud of your man too. You know?
Yeah.
You need to be proud of his achievements and support his whatever it is. May it be surfing, basketball, whatever, softball.
Yeah.
You need to be a part of that too. You know, you need to be, and vice versa. You know, he has to be supportive of your endeavors of like whatever you do. Cause like I said, I'm in everywhere, everything. And it has to be part of that too. But for a big thing for me too is protection. Like you said, you mentioned it earlier. It's like, say we're out somewhere and, you know, maybe some guy says something really stupid to me. for me, I want some man that's going to come up in there, maybe not start a fight, which has happened to me many and millions of times, but to just be like, don't talk to my girl like that. Like, you know, and I've had situations where I was with my ex and like his friends started talking shit to me, and I usually handle my own, you know, and he said something to me and I was like, fuck you, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? And I expected my ex to like jump in and be like, hey, don't talk to her like that. And he didn't say anything. And I was like, okay, that's what you give to me.
Yeah.
You know, like if some girl is gonna talk shit to my man, I'm gonna jump in and be like, oh, wait a minute. Like, who are you talking to? You know, it should be vice versa. And I want to feel protective. Like, we go on a trip, I'm out in Detroit. Like, are you gonna throw down for me if something, you know what I mean? If something happens, or do I gotta throw down for myself? You know, that sort of protection too.
Yeah. I always feel like because like I often hear a lot of women, they'll say like, I want a guy that's super kind and this and this and this and that. And then I see them and they finally meet a guy that's super kind, right? And then they leave, they'll leave him for somebody else that maybe not be as kind, but he's dominant. But he's a leader. Yeah. Like he protects. So I always tell a lot of guys like, no, like I believe like you have to be like, for women, they're attracted to a guy that comes in and takes care of business. Yeah. You know, like the kind thing comes after. Well, and the thing about it is like, you know what? I always say, I can't date nice guys. I always say that. Yeah. Well, there's truth to that statement. There's actually truth to that statement. Because I just can't. I don't want to say they're soft. I don't even know how to say it nicely, but they're because I'm very dominant. I'm very dominant. I'm a very dominant person. I know that. I know I'm a handful. I'm a huge handful. You know, even my friends are like, oh my God, you're a handful. You know, my best friend says you've been a handful since you were 12, you know? Yeah. And handful in that I'm all over the place and I'm just crazy. So for me to date a nice guy, it's just like, I need somebody that's a little bit of like, they're going to like, once in a while, give me some rubs once in a while, they won't hit you, but they're like, yeah, like just like, give me some hard rubs once in a while, for real. And for me too, it's like, in like dating or whatever, like I need to be somebody that gets my humor, that gets me. Yeah. Like I joke a lot and I talk a lot of shit and I like to laugh. I love to, that's like my favorite thing, is just like crack up laughing, all the time at like any given whatever. And I think that's what attracts a lot of my friends or a lot of people to me, is because I always like to have a good time and fun and laughing and joking. And there's some guys that are just too serious. When they're kind, they're also very kind of serious. Yeah. And I don't want to be with someone so serious. Yeah. Like I need somebody that's gonna like fit my vibe, that's gonna be funny with me and like get the jokes, and because I have a really crude, sarcastic sort of humor. Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes I don't even think I'm funny. Like people are like, oh, you're so funny. And it's like, I think it's just because I'm real and I say shit that other people want to say. They don't say it, but they think it's funny because they're like, oh shit, that's what I wanted. That's what I'm talking about. So it makes it funny. But I ain't trying to be funny. You know what I mean? I know. No, I think just because of the movies we see now that it's overly romanticizing love. So when I often see a lot of people like when they, especially a lot of guys, like they overly try to be super romantic, and then they still get the heart broken, and they complain about I was nice. I was like, hey man, like you're too nice. You're too much. Yeah, you're too much, and it's almost like it's too much feminine energy, right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're too feminine. Yeah, too feminine. Like for me, I always say I have too much testosterone. Like I asked my uncle, he's a scientist. I'm like, can I get tested to see if I have too much testosterone? Yeah, because sometimes I feel like I have bigger balls than most of these guys out there. You know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, can you test me for like too much testosterone? So same would go for like a kind guy, right? It's like their feminine energy is just, it might be too much. And it's sad because they are good guys. They're probably the best guys. Yeah. But like you said, women are looking for a little bit more of a dominant sort of thing, Yeah, because I forgot the way they said it. Because there's a difference between a lot of guys don't understand like the sexual language of a
Yeah.
woman, right? Because at the end of the day, like I said, like those are things that plays a big role. You know, even for guys too. Like I meet beautiful and kind girls all the time, but if I don't feel that sexual energy from her,
yeah,
she could be the kindest girl.
Yeah.
She could be the kindest.
She better throw down.
She could be the kindest girl in the world. But if I don't, you know, if I don't feel that sexual energy towards her, then I'm not gonna make a move. And for a lot of girls, is what for women, like what they sexually attracted to is dominant men. You know, masculine men.
Yeah.
Masculine, dominant men who are like very ambitious, leading, you know, leaders, assertive. And those are things that like gets women like, oh, like turns you guys on. That's the word. Turns you guys on.
Yeah. No, and I think that is really, really true. I mean, I think your perspective of the women's side is very, very true. You know, it's like you have to have some kind of physical sexual attraction at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel that too. Like, I'm not going to say like I'm all about looks, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to say there is a certain look that I like, or like whatever it is. And sometimes it's not even the look. It's that energy about them that makes them different than someone else, right?
Yeah.
It's that attraction of whatever that energy is. Whether that energy is really going to be toxic or not, you don't know.
Yeah.
But you like
you're
that
willing
energy.
you're willing to dive into it.
Exactly. It's so straight. I hate it. I literally hate it. But it's like, you know, you can sleep with somebody and you can feel that, or you can't. You know what I mean? Like, I've been in, like, you know, I want to call it an entanglement, where it's like you sleep with somebody and you feel it and you're like about it and you're like, shit, why did I do that? Because now that energy is a fire burning over here on the side. And then you move along, you know, and then you get into another entanglement and there's not that feeling because you don't have that attraction.
Yeah.
That you slept with them, but it was just like, it wasn't even bad. It was just, that energy wasn't there. There was no draw to it. And then you're like, fuck, why did I do that? You know? And so it's like, it's exactly what you said. There has to be some sort of attraction going on both ways too.
Yeah. I mean, of course we all want kind, kind and being nice, being understanding. And those things, but when it comes to initial attractions, that's the most important thing, is making sure what are you doing to make sure you're attracting you're making sure that you're attracted to the other person.
Yeah.
You know because
it's the same thing. And like, my boss used to hire people for the bar, right? They used to work at the bar, and she would only go for the pretty girls. All pretty girls, okay? So all these pretty girls work, and I said, that bitch don't have a brain in her head.
Yeah.
She can't even hold a conversation. I'd rather have a girl that's half decent, that can hold conversations, that can work, that can push the beers out, that can serve, and that guys like. Guys will like a girl with good personality. You can be half decent and have the greatest fucking personality, and you can attract, you know?
Yeah. Because you have to, if you look at it, like you have to see like some of like the most beautiful girls, but they'll be like with guys like they're not as attractive. But then you see guys that they're very attractive, but they're with girls that are not as attractive as him.
That's exactly the point.
A lot of people don't understand. There's different qualities that attract a lot of men and women. Like for women, I think why you guys are sexually attracted to is a guy that's assertive, ambitious,
right?
Knows his purpose. You know, provides you, protects for you. Those are things that, regardless of how he looks, if you do those things, that you'd be attracted to those type of men. And then I think for guys, it's like women that give out like feminine energy. You know, they're very caring, very nurturing. It doesn't matter. I mean, of course, beauty comes into it, but for the most part, if you feel that sexual energy from somebody, you're gonna be attracted to that person, regardless of how they look.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Right? And I believe that's like 150% true, because you look at some couples and you're like, what are they doing together? You know, like she's like not that cute and she's hot. She's on fire. Yeah. Or the opposite, right? It could be like, damn, you know, she's not cute and he's hot. Like, how did that happen? You know, but it's the different attractions of what people are like looking for and how the energies attract each other. You know. It's not always pretty in the face, you know. There's all these other things that go about it.
Yeah, because I mean, I have guy friends. They're like, we'll have conversations, and he'll be like, I'm very kind. I'm very this and this and this. I love God. I go to church every Sunday.
I go to church.
How come I can't attract the girl? I was like, well, like, understand, like, you have no sexual energy. Like, you.
You need some juju. You need some mojo.
I was like, bro, like, do something with your life. Like, go get work on yourself, improve, get fit, get stronger.
It's so true. It is so true. It's like you need mojo.
But there's this, like, I don't know, narrative going around, like, oh, because when I'll ask you this, when you ask girls, hey, girls, like, what do you like? Like, what do you want in a man, right? Girls will always say, I want a nice guy. I want a guy that's kind, that's vulnerable. And a lot of and I feel like a lot of guys fall for that. I was like, God, don't listen to it. Don't tell women to say
some horse shit. That's some horse shit right there.
That's what they say to you, but then the guy that she's actually having sex with is totally different.
Is an asshole. Probably borrowed money from her. Probably doesn't have a car. Like,
yeah.
Can't cook to save his soul.
Yeah, and one of my friends be like, how come, like, she's going with that dude? And I was like, well, that guy is like, he has a lot of sexual energy. Like, he's probably assertive, very masculine, very dominant. And so that's why. So I feel like, but this is something, like, I feel like many people don't know about, and we don't teach these things.
We don't.
We learn. We figure it out on our own. We figure it out on our own.
That is so true. So true.
Have you ever met a guy or gone on a date that he was too nice and you're just like, not for me?
Well, I've had a lot of, like, customers when I worked at the bar. Like, I'm like, God, this guy would just be so perfect if he wasn't this nice. Or people are always like, oh, why don't you date this guy? All my friends like, why don't you date this guy? This guy is really nice. Bitch, did you ever see me with a nice guy, bitch? No, you never did.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not with the kind guy that opens my door. I'm with the guy that says, hurry up, get in the car, let's go. Like,
yeah.
I mean, ideally, there is some of that stuff that I want from the kind guy. I don't want my ass beat. I don't want to be called a bitch every day.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's common sense.
I want the happy medium. I want the happy medium jerk kind.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So I know. I feel like a lot of this. I feel like that's where the simp came from. Because a lot of girls are posting on social media. We want kindness. We want this. We want this.
No, it's not. It's really not. They're lying. Because the guy that they're with is probably not even.
Yeah, the guy that that's what they want, but that's not what they want to have a committed sexual relationship with. Yeah, that's not
because
different.
They're not getting that. You're not getting that sexual vibe from someone that's kind.
Yeah, I feel like it's.
I feel nothing else going for them but being kind.
Yeah, I'm saying. I feel like.
Well, how come the nice guys never win? Well, there you go.
Nice doesn't put a roof over your head.
They always finish last because for that specific reason, they have no mojo, no juju.
Yeah, I feel like the thing is, if you focus on this, on just being like you said, being a great man or woman, whatever woman you are, be the best woman you can be, best man you can be. Work on yourself, and then work on your masculine energy, and being a very dominant person, and giving out that sexual energy, and then you add nice to it. That's when he said that. That's what I'm saying. That's the guy.
Right? Miriam, put a ring on it quick.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I tell these guys. Look, like, be that dominant man, be that man on purpose, protect, love her. Don't be that great man. And then if you add nice to it, because there's a lot of guys like that. But what's going to separate you is now you can offer that, but also you're also nice, you're also loyal, and then that's game over for you.
Game over. Like, game over. Put a ring on it. Like, get married tomorrow. Like, I don't know.
So we had some good conversations.
You know what? Maybe we should have our own school. We can open up a school and we can teach this stuff.
I know. Exactly.
We can be matchmakers. We can start, like, having our own show of matchmaking, and then we find out about people. Oh, you're too kind. Get your ass to the gym. Get a job.
Get a job.
Call me back in a month.
take some boxing classes.
Yeah, tell me back in a month, and you stop being a hoe. Change your clothes, put some clothes on, put some skirts instead of bikinis.
Go to. Oh man, I know. I feel like maybe one day we start a school or something. I think
it'd be great because like you said, this is stuff that first of all people don't talk about.
Yeah, they don't.
I mean, you can talk about it with your friends, but it's not the same. You talk about it with strangers. You and I are strangers. We don't even know each other.
Yeah.
Good conversation, good topics, different views, different perspectives, but totally helpful for people that's gonna watch it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's not talked about. It's not talked about things. It's not talked about subjects, but it's actually reality of our lives.
Yeah, we're talking about real life.
This is real life.
This is what This is what we see in the real world. This is not social media. What people post.
No, this is our lives here. This is what we live in.
This is what men. This is what men are saying. This is what women are saying.
Yeah, no, 150%. Yeah.
Totally. All right, so I just want to say I think we've come to close to the end of the podcast.
That was a lot.
I know we have to. We definitely got to do a part 2. I just want to say, thank you so much for sharing your life story. Thank you so much for being open and sharing your thoughts today. In closing, one thing I always ask every guest at the end of the show, if you want to leave some final thoughts, some final words of wisdom, and then we'll end the podcast with that.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me. And like I said, puts the place. That's my believer, and I feel like that's how you found me. Like I needed to be on this. I don't know, because I felt like I learned a lot from you too.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's topics and subjects that people don't normally talk about with strangers.
Yeah, but we talk about every single day about people. We got friends. Yeah.
Yeah, like we're talking like we shoot the shit every day. Like we're gonna go play ball after this. Like, no, we don't know each other. People need to know that we don't even know each other.
Yeah.
Just over this couple of hours. But that's what I like to do. I like to bring joy to people. I like to bring and I want to support your project. And I think your project is great. And I think if I can be helpful to women, not even to men, because we did talk about both sides.
Both sides, yeah.
But if I can be, if I can be a motivation to women who are in like terrible relationships, or for teen moms, or all the different topics that we talked about today, all the different the whole conversation of the different aspects, then I feel like my life is fulfilled. I mean, I feel like that's my life's purpose, is to get my message across. And even if it means sharing my story and sharing my personal life, if I can do that to help someone, then someone messaged me, and I've had several people actually DM me, last year I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah.
This and that. Like, how did you do this? Or I've had a guy tell me, I'm overweight. No one's gonna love me. I've had a lot of that different kind of conversations. And you think it's all dick pics in my DMs, and it's all like, I want to sleep with you. I want to meet with you. Let's link up, or whatever the word is called these days.
Yeah.
It's not, I get a lot of these things of like motivation and support and depression and suicide and all this stuff. And if I could save someone every day from suicide or from depression, I would, by telling my story of how I made it, by speaking the truths and the realities of my life. And especially for women, because, like I said in the beginning, we have a hard time out here. We do. It's rough for us, and like, I want to make a difference in people's lives. I hope people watch this, and I hope they see it and they're like, wow, I want to do that. I want to be that. And it's important for people to be happy. We talked about happiness, talked about love. Love is good when love is kind, not too kind. But love is good. And I feel like I just want women especially to feel their self-worth. I want them to feel enough. And, I'm always open, like, my IG at Findimea 808. Yeah, at Findimea 808. I'm always open. DM me, whatever. You want my perspective on something, or you want my take on something, or my opinion, or sometimes, like my friends say, I need mail time. If that's what you need, and if I can provide that to you, if I can make your life happier, not in a sexual way, I'm down for that. And I'm down to be you know, a spokesperson on many different topics.